minute or two before we actually
Give
start the
it a minute or two.
podcasting part. But we can work on some stuff. Because I know I didn't get nearly as much done this week as I wanted to, or that I
I
planned to.
haven't painted in probably a month or two.
Though in reality, but you have a lot of stuff that is done, and you haven't picked up so much lately. I will say. So I don't think you've had that be as big of a concern as it might have been, say, for for me.
Very true.
So
Like what I'm doing now is the extra bits, not necessarily like army.
yeah, the custodes you picked up after you said you wouldn't get any more custodes.
Okay, but it did last a while.
Um, when did you actually buy the first thing that broke it for you?
It was this what I'm
April?
painting right now.
When though?
No, 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 no. It would. I think it was May.
May?
It was like
Okay, so
the
you made
end
it
of
5 months.
May,
That's
and
I
it was only because someone
rationalize it. Go ahead.
reminded me.
Cause what?
It was only because someone reminded me that custodies can take dual. The Aquilons can take dual melee and not doesn't don't they're not forced to take a gun. And I was like, that's
Okay.
not true, and it is true, and it's
So
awesome.
essentially, someone told you, "Hey, for what you're doing, there's a type that you haven't gotten yet. There's like a way to
Yes,
do them," and you're like, "I can't
yes,
let that be."
yes, exactly.
Got it.
And he goes, "Didn't you magnetize them?" And I started laughing.
You never magnetize any of your stuff.
The only thing that's magnetized is my Titanicus,
Hold on one second.
and
Huh? Okay. Oop. Apparently, I gotta go move something for the wife, so I'll be right back.
oh no, go ahead. I'm not watching YouTube, so I don't know if I can answer questions.
All right. That was bound to happen. Did I? Nope. Good. I dropped the paint, but I didn't put it anywhere else, so I'm okay. All right. Now that's actually after 8:30. In a moment we'll get the official podcast part started. Not that it matters too much, but this way we can actually still put it out on podcatchers and stuff like that
Yeah.
later. I'll cut it. Also, I'll say it now because we do have a few, at least a person or two watching. These cameras that I picked up, pretty good for battle reports. Apparently, they don't autofocus. They don't have an autofocus thing. So the next time we do this, because I do think I want to do this more often, the next time we do this, we're going to have cameras that will autofocus. So that'll actually work better. Unfortunately, the system we have just doesn't do that. Such is life.
C'est la vie.
Yeah, it's what I find. I learn more and more as we go along doing this. But what I found in the beginning is I didn't know the sorts of things that I wanted to know. It's like I didn't realize, like, oh, you get webcams. We could use some webcams. Oh, I didn't realize what I should be doing is making sure that they have different, different features and different things. Oh, where bitrate's going a little bit low. That's all right. Can't do much about that. Just so you know, your cell phone is fully visible.
Ah. Let's do that.
That's fine. Is it still running okay?
Uh, yeah. I
Okay.
just, I guess I have it in the background.
That's
It's just
fine. Just
muted.
give it a second because it's showing the bitrate dropped bad for some reason. I want to make sure there's not some sort of weird error.
No, oh, that's weird. No, no, I'm looking at the screen. It doesn't look bad at all on my screen.
Has it caught up to what we're doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, no, it's not caught up. It's like 20 seconds behind.
Okay. But if it's still running,
Right.
that's a good sign. Okay. All right. Well, why don't we say what we're actually working on since the whole idea is that we're
Yeah.
going to paint. Mostly because, so one of the reasons, I'll put this out in case people don't know, one of the reasons we're doing it this way for right now is one, we still wanted to get some content out this week. But Steve is currently away in Texas doing some job training. Um, this is going to sound real bad, but do you know exactly what it is that he's doing?
Not exactly. I know what job position he applied for, but that's about it.
Okay. Same. I just didn't know much in terms of particulars, and I don't know if he wants us to say. But I know
Exactly.
apparently he
So I'm
went to
not going.
Texas,
Yes.
so he is nowhere around right now. But we still wanted to do something. We didn't want to do a normal deep dive because without Steve, we just don't like doing that. Unless it was a game system that he doesn't do. But since it's not a game system, he doesn't do any of these ones we do. We wanted still to do something different. So we're gonna essentially just talk new 40k, some other stuff. So you are working on, I know, Custodes. I can see that you're working on Custodes.
So yes, I was gonna work on demons for the stream because I was gonna actually use my demons tomorrow, and we were trying to film a battle report in Maplewood.
Yes, because now I have my
But
wireless audio stuff. I found it.
exactly. But my wife had a surprise party that she had to go to, so
Not
that would
much of a
leave me with the
surprise, if she
kid.
knows.
Yeah, well, it was a surprise birthday party for me. So I was left with the kid, so I can't go obviously to Mayport on Friday. So I was like, might as well paint some custodes because I'm still torn on what I want to start 10th edition with because it sounds weird, and I know like I don't really like tournament play, but like I'm going to speak from a tournament player kind of point of view.
Yeah.
Um, the army you start with is the army kind of you know the best, right? I don't like splitting armies because then it's like you got to learn one strategy, then another, then another. I like to stick with one thing, master it, and then move on to the next thing. And I'm really trying to figure out what army I want to start for 10th. Um,
Well, at least the nice part is when it is this new, anything you start is going to be a combination of both good and bad because you're not going to know any of it yet, and that's okay.
exactly. No, exactly. And I'm really like, I looked at the demons today again. I looked at the Eldar that I have, but that's going to be a no. Um, I looked at the custodians I had, and I love the demon rules. Don't get me wrong; they look really cool. I
But
love their like, but oh my god, the custodians rules are cool because the big thing with custodians in ninth edition was they were really confusing to play. I don't know if you ever played. Have you ever played custodian against my custodians in ninth, or was that like just the one time?
it might have just been the one time. In reality, I didn't really play much ninth. I played, um, I don't know, like 6, 7 games of ninth.
Eh,
It was fine. Nothing against it. It was kind of already at the point where it wasn't what I like. That was
exactly.
the big
With
thing.
the problem was with the custodians, right? You can choose 3 out of 6 karate stances.
Do you see the
Each
chat? The
karate.
chat's not coming up for me.
Oh, chat is coming up for me, but I don't. No one typed anything. Oh
No,
wait,
someone
sorry.
did.
Just building some Thalax while you all vibe.
Thank you.
That's Aubrey. Yeah, that's
Oh,
weird.
okay. You
Oh,
might have to keep
Thalax.
an eye
Wait,
on chat.
I
Just let me
got you.
know
I'll
if
keep
someone
an
says
eye.
anything.
So what I'll do is I'll rotate the zoom. Also, if you're building Thalax, God bless you. I hated building mine. Oh my God. No, you're laughing. Okay, let me because you don't never built Thalax because they're not in plastic.
No.
Thalax are the absolute worst. Their joints are so resin skinny, and it's like their hip. Oh my God, the absolute worst. I hated it. I absolutely hated it with an absolute passion. I wanted. Oh my God, no, no. Literal nightmares. Um, no, but so like the ninth edition custodians, they had 6 karate stances,
Yes.
each which had 2 stances each, right? And you chose 3 of the 6. Okay, that's kind of confusing, but screw it. That was. But then you had your 30 stratagems. But then you also had your shield host, which could modify the different karate stances. And then you had it was just it was like it took as much time explaining it to a new person than it did playing. It was very annoying. Now it's
Welcome to
like,
ninth.
yeah. Now it's like, all right, I have 3 karate stances. I can activate them in each of the fight phases, including yours, and this is what they do.
Hmm.
Done. It's sustained hits. It's something else, and it's -1 to hit in melee. And I get 1. Unless I take a shield captain, then shield captain can actually have 2 in his unit. Ooh. Which is actually kind of cool.
All
He
right.
knows kung fu. But yeah, no,
I'm
so
sure he does.
so that's why I'm painting custodians, because I was like, screw it. If I'm gonna do custodians, then might as well paint I think what am I 6 plus 10? 16 that I have left.
All right.
Actually, technically 17, because I have that stupid Orion that I haven't even touched yet. And he's huge.
Since I think we're far enough in, I'll do an actual intro and stuff like that. So the little preamble will be for anyone watching now. It'll still be up on the YouTube, but I'm not going to cut that into the normal episode when I put it together for podcatchers and all. But we'll do an actual official thing, and then we'll structure this a little more, but we'll go around, and it'll get random, I'm sure, as we go. I will do the intro song later. I will put that in myself because the other thing is I can't hear it when it happens, so I just have to judge when it looks like it's done. This will be easier.
Uh, that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, there's probably settings, but I just don't want to mess with it. That's all. All right. Sit back,
Oh, that makes
relax.
sense.
It's
Oh,
calm
sorry, I
yourself
didn't know
there.
you were starting.
Yes, I told you I was. Calm yourself. Sit back and relax while I listen to Train Kickers podcast. I'm Dave, and along with my co-hosts Dan and Steve, we're gonna take you all around the world of miniature wargaming. On tonight's episode, we are sans Steve for this particular week. It's been very hit and miss for us for the last few weeks. There was obviously, essentially, the wildfires coming down from Canada the other week, which was causing some issues for Dan and some others. Steve was having computer problems. I believe it's somewhat resolved, but right now he's actually down in Texas getting trained for a new job of his. So since he was unable to make it, we wanted to do something a little different. So for anyone actually watching, either watching now or watching later back on YouTube, we're actually doing a painting stream. I do apologize a little bit for the quality. The cameras are good for battle reports, but they don't actually have an autofocus because I didn't realize that was a thing that you had to look for separately. So Dan's is pretty decent in focus because he's a little further. Mine's a little bit closer, so focus is a little bit off, but so be it. For the next time we do this, I'm going to have cameras that will actually work better for it. But tonight's plan is to talk bit of news, bit of hobby, bit of games played, all of that, and then get into a discussion on the new 40K and what we think of all of that. At this point, at time of recording, it is a Thursday evening. We now have the base rules. We have the rules for every single faction. The last thing we're waiting to get our grubby little mitts on is points. All of that should be dropping sometime early tomorrow for us. And then I know at least myself is kind of probably play a game tomorrow, and then weather depending, we might be recording something on Saturday. And now, on to the show. All right, Dan. So now that we officially started, and
Yep.
we're gonna try our best to make sure if you're listening to this on a podcatcher, we're not constantly saying, "Hey, look at all this stuff," and you can't see any of it. We'll talk about it, but we'll make sure we discuss it nicely as well. What I wish you could show anyone watching is all those molten bronze you have.
Oh no, that's already stored away. So they are
It's okay.
stored away.
Please don't. But
Yeah. Okay, so the story is we were talking about this before the podcast. P3 went through like we're going to disappear our paint line kind of thing, right? And one thing I absolutely hate for those folks at home is when you're painting an army and the paint gets discontinued, or you forget what the paint is, and there's a slight discoloration in the army. Now, if you have only like 2,000 points, who cares? But I'm up to like what,
if you only have
35,000, I'm up to like 40,000 points of this stuff. So if one squad looks out, it looks really bad. So I freaked out because I was like, oh hell no, molten bronze is the only P3 paint I use for this for the Custodes highlights, right? So I went to Richard, which is Maplewood Hobby. I bought his entire stock of molten bronze, which was like 8 bottles. Then I went online, found the cheapest, like 8 to 10 bottles I could find, and bought all that. So I have like 16 bottles stored away and sealed in a nice, cool container, so it'll dry up for a rainy day in case P3 actually does go out of business.
so like you have a humidor of paint.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly where I put them, believe it or not. Because I
I
have a
wasn't.
humidor for the cigars.
You just
That's
want to live
exactly-
up to your own stereotypes, don't you?
No, I refuse. Like, so I was telling before the stream, I was talking about like which paints were close by because I was like, if they go out, I have to figure out a filler paint. No paints come close unless you're using what was it Tamiya? But the problem is Tamiya is one very expensive for a very small bottle.
Yes. it is.
Now, mind you, maybe I could go Tamiya anyway because honestly, I don't need to paint another 10,000 custodians.
Yeah.
But the other problem is that it's Tamiya does smell, and I paint in the basement, and Tamiya has a very rancid smell to it.
Is I don't know this. Maybe someone watching can tell us otherwise. Is Tamiya acrylic? No, right? Or is it an acrylic paint that you use? Because if it's not acrylic, that would be explain the smell.
That's a very good question, actually. It is. I know it's a very like Tamiya red when I use it on the.
I know some of the
armor
Tamiyas
for
are not, but I don't know enough about Tamiya. I never used their stuff.
Like I use Tamiya blue and Tamiya red very exclusively. but you have to be kind of in an open space, or at least be using it in a very like small quantity. I know some people that airbrush Tamiya red for like
Yeah.
that beautiful red gloss color.
Hmm.
I would not be able to do that in the basement. I would probably get high and or have brain cancer. It is a very powerful spell.
Well, keep in mind though, if you're airbrushing, you would have something that would put it outside and everything like that. Like I have a
Yeah, but
hood.
even aerosolizing it though, like this smell when you open the cap is already powerful enough. I can only imagine what happens when you like aerosolize it. Is that that's a word, right? Yeah, I mean
The word is real. The pronunciation is not.
aerosolize,
Uh,
aerosolize.
it that's fine. It's close enough.
Yeah,
Just keep in mind you're the one watching chat because it's not showing
no,
up for me.
no, no. He has it. Yeah. No, you're
Okay,
right.
just in case. I just wanted to be
I
sure.
actually I have it in front of me. That's why.
Okay, no, very good.
Um, but so that's why I have a million molten bronze. And for the podcast, because I know you just kind of started the intro right now.
Yes, I did.
I
Why was
was
I
gonna
wrong?
paint demons. I was gonna paint demons for this stream.
Hmm.
Because I've been flipping on playing demons, custodians, or Eldar for the new edition. Um, the Eldar rules came out. I can't do it. I could, but the army that I have currently for Eldar is um, so it's all wraiths. The whole theme was supposed to be a wraith army and a Yandon army of
Yeah.
wraiths, right? So it's D cannons and wraith blades with swords, blah blah, and a wraith knight. And the problem is with Strands of Fate, that's just exactly what the meta is. There's no meta for 10th edition yet, but you know, taking, for example, taking three sixes and then doing 24 mortal wounds to a squad very easily does not seem like a fun proposition for either me or my opponent. Um, so Eldar is shelved for now until they kind of fix it. And so I'm left with demons or custodians. And I was like, I could do demons. I haven't done demons yet,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Custodians always have a warm place in my heart. And the rules, I was saying the rules are much, much simpler now.
I mean,
I don't have to explain.
the reason I would say demons because you haven't used them yet, really. You
Yeah,
haven't.
exactly.
They haven't been available in 30K, so you couldn't have done it there. They are just getting available now in this other system. I don't see why
So the
not there.
problem with demons is funny enough, ironically, the same problem with custodians for now. And I'll explain in a second. So the problem with demons, especially the core demons, is that they have okay, so let me see here. I'm trying to think. I have Scarbrand,
Double
so
zero.
that's one option. Bloodthirster, other option. HQ, so that's two more options. That's four. Bloodletters and Blood Crushers. So I have six options out of the
Okay.
nine that are available, right? So my army list is not going to be like variable. It's not going to look like, oh, it's got 16 different options of things, right?
But that's what
It's going to
Modern
have
Demons is.
true. That is also true, but it also seems like listen, when I pop out three bloodthirsters because that's all I own, that might not be a fun game. I don't know yet. Points withstanding, I don't know. Versus now, what's funny is the custodians, right? The custodians I have a ton more variable units. But what's funny is normal Games Workshop custodians, you're only looking at maybe 13, 14 units. Um, Only of nine of which I own because I don't actually own the Land Raider. Because 65% of the custodian army is actually locked behind Forge World,
Which doesn't have the rules yet.
which doesn't have the rules yet. So that's a kind of funny little side note that for now, technically my custodians and my demons have the same level of variety, which is
I
kind of
just got
funny.
Necrons.
Yeah, but Necrons have tons of variety. You have a ton of units.
Yes, there's a good amount.
I printed yours today. It was 107 pages. I was like, oh, Jesus
Well, because
Christ.
there's a lot of characters. Necrons have a bunch of them. I was
Yeah, I
looking at the
noticed that.
characters. But I just don't own any of the characters. And now I've seen a bunch of it. I guess I got to go buy some characters. I also got to figure out where I put that orange paint I needed.
Orcon looks great, by the way. I was looking at
Yeah.
Orcan.
Orcan. Most
Orcan.
people I hear it pronounced is Orcan. Orcan the Diviner. That's mostly what I've heard. Oh, there's the orange I need. All right, well, we set some things we want to do. So obviously, we'll start at hobby because we are currently hobbying. Now, you said you hadn't painted elsewise in quite a while, so I don't know if there's anything else you've been working on.
No, well, it's just no. This would be the first paint I've thrown on the bottle. I did paint Conquest a little bit before the tournament,
Did you?
and then the Apocalypse came. Um,
Yes.
but no, I did actually paint a little bit of Conquest because I was going to try to show up with a little bit of paint on them because I don't like playing unpainted. It does irk me to a very large degree. Um, I don't know why that is. I used to play unpainted all the time. Um, Now I don't know. Maybe I'm
Once you have a fully painted army in a system, and you notice how this is for most people, and you notice how much you like it, it makes it tough to then go back to the days of unpainted
unpainted.
stuff.
Yeah. So I look at like my custodians, my Eldar, my demons, and then I look at my Dweg, and I'm like, oh, hmm.
Paint them then.
That's what I was doing. And then I got sick, and then I was like, oh, I can't paint while I'm sick. And then, yeah, no, it's just And honestly, what's funny is these custodians, the Aquilons that I'm painting, are probably not going to have rules in 40k because usually they have guns in 40k. This is the double melee variant that is exclusive for now to 30k, um, which I'm fine with. I can't wait to run these guys in 30k
I would
because I
say
don't.
you play that as well, so it's not much of a concern
Yeah,
if that's the
yeah,
only
no,
spot that they show up.
that's really what I'm working on. Then I'm waiting for my friend Bo to finish printing a couple spines because I got my. Let me see, my camera picks this up a little bit more to the left, a little bit back, but there we are. Here's my arch demon.
It's a big boy.
Uh, yeah, he is very huge. He's a little bigger than Imperial Knight and will be bigger than Imperial Knight when he gets his base. That's gonna be my archdemon for my if archdemons still exist. If archdemons no longer exist, I'm gonna cry.
I'm sure something will.
Yeah, something
So,
to the effect of.
since I knew we were going to be sitting, we're going to be discussing stuff, but also painting. I tried to organize the paints I needed, but I would show up. I'm not going to. I have all the other paints. I don't know, 40 paints scattered across the front of my desk. And then I keep realizing, oh, I should have grabbed this one. I should have grabbed that one.
Really, you don't say. Hold on, wait.
Yeah. That's nothing. That's nothing. So, so normally this setup's a little bit different for me. Normally when I paint holding it up to me, and I push my keyboard back. I use that as the spot where I put my wet palette, and then I just have the front part of my computer table. I don't know, 40 inch, whatever, how far it is, just full of paints. I actually got a paint holder in the back that holds the other paints I'm not actively using, but this is what I have right now. So going with the little vampire flesh. All right, so for me, hobby wise, what I've been doing,
Oh, thanks, Brett. Custodies are lame, jerk.
I agree. I
He
entirely
literally
agree.
pop in here. He literally pops in.
I
Custodies are
entirely
lame,
agree.
and then like literally leaves.
But the question is he wrong? And the answer is no. No, he's not wrong. Do I still need to do yeah, I still need to do the extra effects on this one. So, for what I've been up to lately, I've been getting through quite a bit of my Old Dominion. I painted 6 stands of Rangian Guard. I have Bone Golems left, the Cataphracti, and then the Basophili have been shown as a box now. We know they were coming for a while, but now they've actually shown it, so we know
Are
we're
those the
going to get
Minotaur
those.
guys?
Yes,
They
those are
look
the Basophili.
fantastic. They look fantastic.
They really do. Undead Minotaurs, they are not nearly as busy, which is good, because I will say my Bone Golems, I've been very delayed on painting them because of how much is going to be required to actually paint them. They're covered in stuff. And it has absolutely slowed me down to a crawl trying to get those guys done. But
That's
I have
funny.
those. I'm currently, for anyone watching anything like that, painting Shatterpoint. So I've been painting bases. I'm doing comic style for this. The bases I'm doing is comic style. The models as well, I'm doing comic style. A little bit light on it. I don't blackline quite as much as I could, but a decent amount of blacklining. Comic style is fun to do, but essentially you do a good paint job, and then you just put black ink all over it. and hope you don't mess up, because if you do, kind of screws it up. But so I'm currently working on all of that. I
Is
have
Shatterpoint? Shatterpoint like the 20? It's a 20 millimeter
40
Star Wars, right?
mil.
It's 40 mil. Jesus
40 mil,
Christ!
yes.
Oh my god!
Oh, those are up front with my 3D printed stuff. Otherwise, I'd show you the one thing. I can show you on something. I actually have B1s for both. So far, I painted 2 stands of B1s. It's 3 B1s a stand. So I painted both of those. Dooku is just about done. He's hanging out here on the table. He needs a little more black highlights, and then he needs his black inks or other colored inks. Sometimes you can do it inked in other colors. Kalani's done. Ventress is done. I have Magna Guards I'm working on next with Jango Fett. That way I can have a full Strike Force done, or Strike Team, whichever way they call it. I'll have that entirely done, and then from there, then I just try to paint up the rest of the stuff. I made one video so far about it. Once I get a few more things painted, we are going to do some learn to play. I'm going to do some, like, more of discussion style myself, but then we're going to actually have learn to play videos put out as well, because Josh and I are going to record those, slash other people if they're interested, but I know me and him were talking about doing that. So I think that's the most stuff I've been working on. I haven't worked on my Bushido yet. That's I don't know, probably next week maybe. I really want to get the shot.
What did you pick up in Bushido?
I have the Dissension, which is the Tengu. So it's
Oh, that's
Tengu
awesome.
and
Yeah.
hill people, and I refuse to buy anyone who's not a bird. So I'm not playing any of those. God, I hope the hill people aren't like amazing, and I should be getting them, because I'm not. I played one game, got absolutely wrecked, but that's to be expected. First game in it. So what I should say is, for anyone who doesn't know Bushido, Bushido is a skirmish level miniatures game. It's based on Japanese lore, folklore, anything like that, however you want to call it.
I would hope so with a name like Bushido.
Well, yes, but yeah, but some of the things. So there's a ninja type faction. I play, like I said, I play Tengu. So they're minor deities, and it's also in the faction is the hill people who worship them, and there's a faction of essentially snake people, a variety of other ones as well, monks and all kinds of stuff. But what you find a lot of times with a lot of skirmish games are that early on you are probably going to lose, and you might lose very hard. If anyone has learned to play Infinity, same idea. In the beginning, you're probably just going to get stomped because you're still learning the game. The game itself is simple. The amount of special rules and things like that is where the complication comes in. So it's learning all that, learning how your faction operates, making sure not to make that big mistake that could cost you a game because they can do one thing or another. Like for that, I had one of my birds, he's a giant great eagle. He has an amazing bow. In that game, so the way they do that game, what would happen if we are in a fight? So average game 4 to 6, maybe 7 models. You can go a little bit above if you want. But what's going to happen? Let's say I get in there, we're going to fight each other. If my attack stat is 4, that means I get 4 dice. I can choose for those dice how to allocate them to attack or defense. Because when we fight, we both fight at the same time. So now, the fact that I activated, or maybe you've run out of activations, because base every model gets 2 activations. Even if you're out of activations, you still fight, but you might start losing some dice or other things like that. But we both fight. We decide secretly how we're allocating our dice. What's going to attack, what's going to defense. We mention what weapon we're using, because you might have different weapons, but we secretly decide what special attack that weapon may have. So like one of them might have a sweeping defense. Like, oh, if I succeed on this, I move out of your line of sight for all intents and purposes. Once we do that, we roll off. It's a D6 system. You take the highest number you have, and add to it 1 for every other die you have that's not a 1. So if you rolled a 2, 3, 5, you got a 5. Hey, a 2 and a 3, those are 2 dice that are above 1s. So add 2, you got a 7.
7.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
You compare yourself to each other. Whoever got better, there is a table that tells you If an attacker wins, if you beat on the attack instead of defense, it shows you what happens if you win an attack. So the further up the table you go, the more damaging. Models on average have maybe 6 hit points. If our difference is, say, a 2, then I roll 2d6, I consult the table. So, I look at the 2 stat, 2d6, a 7. Okay, that's a damage point. Oh, maybe that's 2 damage. And there's things that adjust the table. But if you go all, say, defense, or say you go all out attack on me, and I don't defend it, or something like that, or I don't defend it well enough, higher spots on that tracker will just straight out kill you. If you get to like the 6, and you roll a decent number, it's 6-7 damage. So it pays no matter what to put a little something in defense. That does mean, like, I had a case where I had 2 dice rolled an attack against me. He got like a 7 total, and I rolled like a 2. So that's a 5. The 5 on that chart is exceedingly damaging very, very quickly. So you can get knocked out very fast in this game. Really do like the game, but it is the type of game where, you're going to get beat pretty bad, usually early on, which is 100% what happened to me, which is fine.
Who were you playing?
Played against one of the Wongs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were, because the other day when they were playing, I was in the Conquest tournament. Well, not really. I was more of taping. I only played part of one game, really, but that's fine.
How did that go for you, by the way?
What do you mean?
I know I'm shimmying around. How did that
No,
go for you?
it's okay. We're on to stuff like that. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're allowed to move around a little bit.
Yeah, how did those games go for you? Because I know who won, which was that ridiculous Dweg list.
Yes.
Like when you said Dweg won, I'm like, oh, okay, he took the sorcerer and so on.
Nope.
And he goes, no, he took 13 activations.
Have you looked at the list yet?
No,
it's
I
on
have
BCP.
Not. Oh, it is on BCP? Oh,
yeah.
I'll look at it later.
Yeah. So we had a Conquest tournament. We had 12 people. One person arrived late, so because of that, and just some health issue on my side, I sat out the first turn. Second turn, I played against the guy who was late, and third turn, I essentially walked around and hung out. So the first game, now like I said, unfortunately we didn't have our wireless stuff. So the first game is absolutely going to go up. That one will be up online. The second game, maybe I have to take a look. The third game, probably not. The audio is just not to the level I want it to be, but that's okay. We'll get better audio in the future for that kind of stuff. But my game itself, so the games were 2.5 hours. We did not reach a natural conclusion. We got to turn, I want to say we were maybe turn 5. Now, part of it is because Garrison is still learning his army, so it takes a little bit longer, getting more comfortable with your rules. He was playing Wadrun, and for anyone who doesn't know the game, every faction in the game breaks the rules somehow, breaks the base rules. Wadrun have chants. So these are orcs that ride dinosaurs. They have chants. So they have several different things they can chant, and when you get a stack of cards from that chanting, every so often they automatically go off. Essentially, when it gets to the 4th card, you have to go off no matter what. Usually it stops at 3. There's ways to get to 4. 4 is the absolute max, but normally you're set off at 3. But that does mean when they're deciding what to do, they have to think about that. Because
hey Molly, how you doing?
Because
welcome to the pod. Welcome, Molly. Welcome. Sorry.
No, it's all good. It greatly matters what they do with those, because if you activate in the wrong order, you might set the chant off on the unit that didn't need it or it doesn't benefit, but the other unit does. So not only do you have to figure out your stack of cards that turn, you have to think, all right, well, this unit's going to chant war. This other one's chanting famine, and that'll give me 2 famines when it goes off, and famine's going to give me, I think it's conquest is the extra move. I forget which one's which. But, this one won't get me the extra move, and I really need that. So, there's this extra thought in what is realistically the hardest thinking part of the game, which is making those decisions. So, we didn't quite get through our game, but so be it. I said, otherwise...
Who won that game, though?
Versus me and him, it was technically a tie because Richard called time down dice immediately. If we had about an extra 5 seconds, I win. And if we play out the game, it most likely would have been my side as well, just because of positioning. So that one, and this will, if I release this one, I want to listen to it more. But if I release this, you guys will notice that for this mission, it was long ways. Normally in it, long board edges, going back and forth. This one, other way. There was 6 tables going. We were the only table who played it appropriately. Every other table played it wrong. Every other table did the normal way. We're playing wrong ways. And someone, I forget who
Oh,
it was, someone turns around and they're like, wait, were we supposed to do that? I was like, yeah, look at the mission. The mission says long ways. And they're like, oh, God. And we look around, they're like, you guys are the only ones who actually followed what the mission said.
all Molly doing great. Talking what? Talking
What's
cloud?
weird is chat has just started coming into me. And so it's coming in like 30 minutes past.
What the
It's
hell's
so weird.
wait? What's clouk? Wait, is that supposed to, okay? So you
It's
typed
probably
out
says clock.
CLA. No, 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 no.
Oh,
CLA
yeah.
parentheses O parentheses K. Is that Clash? No,
I don't know.
clouk and painting. What are we painting? I'm painting Custodes, of course. I know Roll Eyes,
Yeah.
and
I got
Dave is painting
bases.
bases of Shatterpoint.
Bases for Shatterpoint. Because I don't feel like
Molly,
painting the models right
what
now.
is Cloud? Oh, Conquest Lager. Oh my Jesus, Conquest. Last Argument of Kings. CLAOK. Got it. Okay. What are you
You
painting,
didn't know
Bob?
that? Wait, you didn't realize that was the abbreviation? I was paying attention to it.
Is it
Yeah.
really that long? No.
Yes.
Conquest.
Yeah.
Last Argument of.
The last argument of kings.
Oh, that's
TLAOK.
annoying. I
That's how
didn't
it's
even know
abbreviated.
that.
So you never watch any of our videos because when we talk conquest, I abbreviate it that way, of course.
I don't. I pay attention to our voices. I never pay attention to the titles. Oh.
Um, but so we were doing that way. That did mean that we didn't really get much involved in those 5 rounds because you had to cover the whole board. List wise,
And you're a slow army too.
in general, especially because I brought Fallen Divinity because I got her painted up. Same thing. I brought a unit Cataphors and a unit Caratids because I had just gotten them painted up. So she actually did. She was able to get into a unit of Blooded and cut them down in one activation. So that was fun.
Well,
I I was able to also. I took out a unit of Raptor Riders. I think it was my Bone Golems who technically took it down, or something else. So we got a little bit of fighting, but not too much. It was well attended tournament. Like I said, we had 12 people, which was really nice. Quite a mix of armies. I was the only Old Dominion player. We had 200 kingdom, no, 300 kingdoms, 2 Dweg, city states, spires, 2 Nords. Not sure what else. I'd have to look it up on BCP, but since I'm showing stuff, I can't really look it up too much right
no
now.
Greeks?
Yeah, city states came in
Oh,
second.
you said sorry.
Yeah. They came in second. You go look at the list as well. It was the not surprised what the list was. Giant fat units, phalangites and stuff like that. Hospitalers or whatever in there. He had a I think he was running as a Prometheus, not the Hephaestion, but I'd have to check to be sure. But lost in the 3rd round because, like I said, that one I don't think is going to come out. I don't think the audio's going to be good enough. Or if I do, I might just do like an overview kind of to discuss. Played a 13 Dwag activation list. I know had 4 Fireforged.
That's
Had like
surprising.
4 Things of Thanes. Had like 4 characters and a unit of Dragon Slayers, or 3 characters, a unit of Dragon Slayers.
What
It was
a
13
weird
activations.
list. What a weird, but it worked. But what a
Well,
weird list.
the list works well for what it's intended to do. That list, its intention, because I talked to the guy a bit and I can tell.
Yeah.
The intention of the list is you will get through your activations before I have started the activations with my units I care about. Like I'll be done with stuff.
No, it
Or
makes sense.
like, oh, okay, we're trying to get to these objectives. All right, I'm going to throw a unit of my Fireforged in because they're a light unit. They're going to contest. You'll probably chew through them, but it's going to take you a while. And in that time, I'll get to objectives or I'll position myself well. I'll start doing what I need to do. But for the time being, I will just, essentially get in your way. And the list did very well at that. In that last game, there's almost nothing left at the end of the game. So it did get close, but his list worked as intended. But what we were doing for the event, we were doing essentially random prize support mostly. We wanted to keep it friendly, and if you attach money to wins, it becomes less friendly. So we didn't do that. There was it was $20 for the tournament. I think you got $20 if you won. So we gave you your fee back, but we did have a best painted, a best general. We gave out two $50 raffles. So we tried to keep it for anyone. For anyone who is somewhat local to Maplewood, on July 1st, we're having a friendly 40K tournament. The idea is none of us know the edition. It's probably going to go bad for people trying to remember rules and all. So, hey, come in, have fun, learn it with the
No,
rest of us.
I will also say that there is no like there's a first place prize.
Yeah,
There is no
literally your
second or
entry fee.
third.
That's going to be first place prize. You'll get your
Yep.
$20 back.
And there's I keep the word I always forget. I want to
Best
keep
general.
calling it no.
Raffle's
The
fine.
raffle. I keep calling it rally, and I don't know why.
That's a completely
Uh,
different thing entirely.
I know it exactly. I don't know why my mind keeps going to that. No, but it's raffle. And then it's best painted, best general.
And best general
Uh,
we do as most fun to play against. That's what we're doing
yeah.
for it in terms of when we say best general. But yeah, it's the kind of thing of you will get more money by not winning. So if that's your goal, but the idea is we're going to do that $20. You can play 3 games, you can learn rules, and everyone's going to make mistakes. So who cares? On July 8th, the following Saturday, we're going to do the same idea for Shatterpoint. We're going to run a Shatterpoint essentially tournament. I
Quote
still have to
unquote.
talk
Yep.
to Richard tomorrow. We'll get it posted up. We'll probably do $10 for that instead. But again, it's going to be the thing of, the winner, whoever wins, quote unquote wins, will get their money back. But otherwise, it's going to be random prizes and stuff like that. Just a great way to get people out, and tournament style stuff is a great way to learn if it's in that friendly environment, because everyone's in the same boat as you. Everyone doesn't know what they're doing, and you're not playing really for much. You're not going to get anything really out of it other than just having shown up. If you show up, you get as good odds as anyone else. So
Are we going to set up another? Are we going to set up another conquest tournament?
yes, I think he was saying August he wanted to do.
Nice.
So we'll look at our schedules, but we'll set one up. And again, we'll probably just do a friendly because it makes sense for us.
It's less okay. So maybe it's because I come from so many 30K. It's not friendly. It's not narrative. It's just event. We call it just a narrative event.
Yeah.
Friendly implies no dicks allowed, which very true. Please don't be a dick. No, but it's also the idea of like there is it. Yes, you get a prize, but I don't think it's. I think you get a little bit more if you get first. I think you get like 30 or 40.
For what? I'm
So you
sorry.
do get a little bit above what you like. You get like $10 or $20 more than what you
For
put
what? I'm
in
sorry.
for first place.
And
I
what?
don't think it like at these tournaments.
And
So
what
like if
tournaments? Ours?
yeah.
No.
So I don't think it's
You literally get no. It's $20.
it's $20.
You
Oh, okay,
get
so it is.
you get what you paid back. I was there at the tournament. I helped Rich sort this out. Yeah, you get what you paid back. That's what you get if you win. Because we're doing it for friendly, so we're making it where it's better, just to show up no matter how you do, or be nice. The prize for best general is more than winning. I remember it was a while back. We had a Malifaux tournament. I came in last, but I also got best painted, and I made out better than the person who won. So we want to do something friendly. We don't want it to be cutthroat or crazy, especially for 40K, because it's still all up in the air of where everything's going to be.
Hey, Dave.
Yes.
What do you think is better painted, my Corn Army or my Custodians?
Define better to me.
Like
Just overall look.
overall look, theme, style. I mean, the nameplates probably add style points, probably.
So what I would say for that, I would probably go with the Custodes, just because of a little bit of variety. The corn, is a little more monotone, and it's understandable because it's, corn, blood red, stuff like that. But there's a little more monotonicity to it, where I think the Custodes just pop a little bit more in general because of their color choices. So I would say that. Although if Josh enters, Josh won the painted, he's probably going to win it there as well.
Yeah. Josh
But-
always.
Yes, he's a very good painter, so it absolutely makes sense that
What
he won.
40? Wait, what 40K does he own?
Doesn't he still have his salamanders?
Not that I know of.
He always did.
Does
They're
he have
still
it-
in the case.
That's 30K though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Question mark?
No, that's World Eaters.
I don't know. Doesn't he have tower? Or does he sell those?
No, he sold those. He sold those for a lot of money. I don't remember the number. I probably wouldn't even say if I remember, but I know he sold them for a lot. But yeah, no, he got out of town. But Um, Other game wise, actually, I had a game last night. I am through Wargamers Guild, which is oh I forget where it is. I forget where the store is off the top of my head. It's a little bit further south in Jersey. Actually, I'll look it up while I'm sitting here. But they're doing a conquest league. So we're starting at 750 points, a giant map. It's printed out in the store, but it's a giant map. We all found our little zones that we have. And we claim our area on the map, and then we're still expanding out. So you every 2 weeks is another round. During the round, you get one free expansion. Hey, you win a game, you get another expansion. Having expansions gets you more points. So you play one game in 2 weeks that counts. Every other game, if you can play up to two more, can get you some bonus points for upgrades or some rerolls. So like if you win another game, hey, you get a reroll. Oh, you get 20 extra points, but it can only be for an upgrade. Can't use it for units and little things like that. So that way it keeps it fairly balanced, but there's a reason to play a little bit more. You might get a little something extra, but still trying to keep it very fun and friendly. Just tell me where it is. There it is. Yardville. My apologies. Yardville, New Jersey. A nice little store. It's in like a little strip mall, but it's a nice little store. So I played 750 game. I found out that the Fallen Divinity with the Aura of Malice, Canophores, and a unit of Caratids is 750 points. So I brought exactly that. I played against Weg. He had Fireforged. He had Tempered Sorcerer with, I think, just Arcane level 1 just for the extra die because he couldn't afford more. What is the shooting dragon you guys have? Which one is that?
It is the Hellfire Drake.
Okay, so he had a Hellfire Drake. What else did he have?
Was the Tempered Sorcerer on top of the Hellfire
No.
Drake or no?
No,
Okay.
It was in a unit. He was
Oh
in
yeah,
the
you
unit
said
of
he
the
took
Fireforged.
Arcane. He took Arcane. Never mind. You can't take retinues when you're on the Hellforged anyway.
Yes. He had that, and he had I forget what the other units might have been Wardens or something like that. He had it with I think it was with an Ardent in there. All I know
Probably
is
Wardens.
yeah, I think it was Wardens then. Are they like like defense 4 with hardened and like resolve 4 and stuff?
No, those are Thanes.
Okay, it must have been a unit of Thanes then. So we had that. The mission we had, it was 3 objectives. We played one of the First Blood missions, just altered a little bit. So 3 objectives. Point for holding an objective, 2 points for holding more than one objective. No, sorry, 2 points for an objective, 2 more points for more than one objective, and like some bonuses for killing units. At low points, though, we start out at higher tiers. Normally, we start out at tier 1 and have to get to higher. Every 250 or under, we start one higher tier. We are playing 750, so everything started tier 2, which meant my Fallen Divinity was already better. My Caratids and Canophores were automatically getting their Memories of Old. So it was, it did quite well. I didn't realize at first, and I don't think he realized just how tanky the Fallen Divinity can be at that level. So she has Tenacious or Tenacity. I forget which way they say
Tenacious. I love that rule. No, it's
Yeah.
Tenacious.
So what Tenacious does means every time you are attacked, auto pass 1 failed. Save. Well,
I'll point out that it's actually like every phase. So if you get charged and you fail a what's it called? A impact save, right? Pass it. And then when they strike you, you can also auto pass that as well. Because that's 2 separate phases or 2 separate attacks.
Yes,
anyway,
it's every attack, whatever an attack
Yeah.
may be, which meant when he was casting spells at me, when he was casting 2 spells, I can pass 2 of them automatically because they're separate spells.
Yep.
So, between that and the Fireforge, so I got into them. They got a shooting attack off of me. I took like 5 or 6 wounds between that and the Giant Dragon. But then I got in. I lucked out. My Canophores did a lot more to his... did you say it was Wardens?
No, Thanes. If
Thanes.
they're defense 4, resolve 5 with shields, those
Yes.
are Thanes.
In my first swing with them, on 15 attacks, I killed like 8.
Oh my god.
And I have Cleave 1, but he has Hardened 1, but he rolled that bad on all this stuff.
Oh
Yeah, I
my
killed
God.
like 8. So I took the objective when it should have been a tie because I killed like a stand and a half. The next round took another stand down. he called it at like turn 7. I was up in points. I was up huge in points. But we also called it because at that point he had like a stand or two left and all my stuff was there. I'd lost one stand. So, but like I said, I don't know if the list. I brought the list. I did figure it would be pretty good, but I mostly brought it just because I wanted to actually use those things because they are the freshest painted things I have. But that's been about it, me gaming wise and that kind of stuff. I'll be playing some Shatterpoint tomorrow to learn the game, see whatever else. Like I said, depending on how the weather looks, we might be playing some stuff on Saturday. We're trying to
I mean,
debate.
listen, am I am I saying I hope your wife goes to the thing? Absolutely. Am I secretly hoping she does it so we could play? Also, absolutely.
So if it was, if it's the problem isn't the rain. So for anyone who doesn't know, my wife is a baker. She has a baking show that day. The biggest problem isn't the rain. They're supposed to call for a bit of rain. We don't want to be out in the rain. People don't necessarily show up as much, but maybe it's okay. The thing is, they're calling for thunderstorms, like an hour or two after it starts. And it's in a field, and we'd be under a metal tent. We're like, if it's actually thunderstorms, if there's lightning, shouldn't be there. Like, that's so dangerous. But the show was expensive as well, so she's debating exactly what she wants to do. But we're gonna do that tomorrow. So if we don't do that, then we'll record a 40K.
When does it
thing.
end? When does I was gonna say when does it end?
4, but it's like an hour away. We could always do something that night potentially as well,
Yeah, I was
but
gonna
depending
say.
on energy level. But yeah, otherwise we can do that night. But we just have to say, the big thing is if she's gonna do the show, we got to get baking. We just haven't yet because we realistically
We don't know.
think it's
Yeah.
gonna happen. Is this the color I need?
Oh, they'll cancel. Wait, would they cancel the show?
So
or
it's
no?
rain or shine, but if there's thunderstorms, they're gonna have to cancel.
Do
They can't do it then.
they?
Yes, they do have to. What? It's safe. They literally wouldn't be allowed to have people out there.
Here's the real. Do they offer
Yeah.
refunds, or I guess it'd be a reschedule?
If they do that, they would. Actually, what they said they do is they essentially give you for another show,
Okay.
which is it's fine as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's expensive, so it's like you
Can't
might as well get
remember
paid.
if that was the color I was using for the gray, so I gotta let it dry.
Yep, and that's why I write down my colors. That right there is my
Yeah,
biggest fear.
I should have. It's either that. This one I think is too dark.
People make fun of me, but I actually have a diary it's somewhere over there of literally every color I use on every one of my armies,
No, that
down
is
to
actually
like
a good
the.
idea. I think this one's too dark. Yeah, that looks like that's the edge color. Okay.
Oh, this is the
All
last
right.
Aquilon before I go back to a different color.
Nice.
Ah, the joy of
All right.
Custodes.
Um, have you played anything lately? I don't know if we covered anything like that.
God
I know
no!
we've done
I
some battle
last
tech and
week.
shit.
So last week I was supposed to play in the Conquest tournament, and I'm still very
Oh
upset
yes, you
that I
haven't
couldn't.
because Canada just tried to try and kill you.
Well, it was so on Monday I was feeling somewhat sick, right? Tuesday rolls around and I'm like, oh, it's probably a small sinus infection, and I get really bad ones. So I usually take, a little Sudafed. I break out a little inhaler, but never a nebulizer or anything because it usually goes away. But on Tuesday, the entire goddamn sky turned orange, and the teachers in my building decided to open some windows. Some teachers.
Hey, you want to let it in?
Um, yeah, you got to get all the harmful air in, so you're inoculized against it. So I went from sinus infection to full blown goddamn asthma attack slash sinus infection um, within within like a day. By Tuesday night, I wasn't breathing. I actually had to buy a nebulizer for the first time in like 15 years. Thank God I still knew how to use it. And even right now, like I sound probably still a little nasally and congested,
A little bit.
but my but what's and I'm talking a lot better now right now too. Still coughing a little mucus, you can probably hear it. But the worst part is I actually can't hear anything. My ears, my sinuses and my ears are completely blocked. There's still pressure and pain in them. Give me a second. Yep, the painting diary is 100% necessary. Yep, Bradley 100% is.
I
I'll
need to
give
do
you a
that.
good example.
I really
Give
do.
you a good example. My oldest army is Mechanicum, right? When I restarted my painting my Mechanicum with the Myrmidons, I legitimately had to open the diary because I did not know the yellow of how I got that. I don't know if you look on my Instagram, you'll see like the yellow rust. I had no idea how to do that yellow rust anymore. So when I opened the diary, I was like, oh shit, that's weird. That's how I did it. And it was actually had it here. Hold on, because I was doing it recently. Is it here? Yeah, there it is. Oh god. It was Uriel yellow? Uriel?
Uriel.
Uriel?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Uriel yellow with a brown wash. It had a whole like step-by-step procedure. So I was like, yeah, painting diary, 1,000% necessary. For those who don't have it, I would suggest heavily to do it, especially if you're doing long-term projects. Like, for example, the custodians are kind of easy to paint for me now. They're like, I memorize them. But like stuff like if I was to go back to Mechanicum or Eldar, right? All of that, I need to remember how to do it, you know?
Yeah.
Let me see who else had a comment. There was another comment up here.
I did it for my Titanicus stuff. I took pictures, but I need to do it for this as well, just so I remember. Especially now that I've branched out and I have a lot of colors for different things. Remembering not so much the color, but like whose of it did I use? Oh, I used black. Oh, but I have like 5 different black paints
which
from different
black
people.
did you? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, or like some like right now for the base rims, I've been using rubber black. But there's other shades of that, so that's the main one I use in AK.
Yeah,
but the Tenebrous Gray is pretty dark as well, but it's a little bit lighter. So like when I did Dooku here, his shoes are in the rubber black. This is the Tenebrous Gray. There is a bit of a distinction. When I highlight it, there'll be more, but they're actually pretty close together. Mainly I've just been doing bases now because why not? But oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so you haven't actually played much of anything because you haven't been able to.
Shatterpoint is enticing.
Yes.
Those Ewoks though. Wait, are they? Wait, there's no Ewoks. Wait, are there Ewoks Shatterpoint?
There will be. They're not here yet, but there will be. Let's transition. Do you have any other games? Because then we'll transition to some news and stuff like that.
Well, hold on. Before I do that, this is a reasonable argument. Sorry, Shatterpoint is enticing. Canada sends its regards. Oh, Molly's in Canada. Hey, Molly.
Hi.
A professional. I hate you from from me. Jesus Christ.
Wait, a professional? What are you talking about? It's so weird. The chat is literally 30 minutes delayed that I see on this.
Yeah, he goes, Canada sends its regards. I'm like, screw you. I can't breathe.
Hey, South Park was right. Blame Canada. So
to blame Canada. Let me see here. This is a reasonable argument. I try to keep recipes as simple as I can. Yeah, it's so even like, for example, the custodians, right, that I'm doing right now, super simple recipe. Really easy. I think it's only 3 colors. Well, no, there's more because of the oils, but it boils down to only really 3 to 4 colors. But even just writing down like the manufacturers, like I'm using P3 molten bronze. I literally cannot find another bronze that looks like P3 unless I use Tamiya, which smells of cancer. So like that's like it's not just sometimes even keeping it simple because I use like I don't think I've ever used Army Painter yet because I've heard horrible things of Army Painter.
Their paints?
Yeah. I've heard horror
so they'll
stories.
never sponsor us, so I'll say this. No, their paints honestly to me are super low quality.
Oh, low quality. Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I don't listen, even if they sponsor us, I don't want to lie.
Well, no, they wouldn't sponsor us. I say their paints are shit.
Yeah. No, I've heard horror stories of our banner. P3 is good. I love their medals. I love P3. I haven't, and I do like some of their bases, which are good. GW is GW. You can't go wrong there.
Try the AK medals. I really enjoy the AK medals. Oh, sorry.
So I did try the AK medal.
There we go.
They're beautiful. They don't have the bronze I need.
Oh, okay.
They do have a beautiful gold. I forgot what the
Scale has a nice line as well. I haven't tried the monument stuff yet.
Scale
I have some of
75?
Yeah.
Scale 75?
I use a lot of their
I've tried them
medals
as well. Yep.
The other thing
I think the best medals is the one I have a friend, Luke, who uses it. And I always forget what the hell the name of the damn paint is. It's in a very small bottle, and you have to use like a specialized cleaner for your brush after you use it.
Probably oil. That's why.
Yeah, I think it's an oil paint. And it's this thing, like he used it on, I was helping him paint his Dark Eldar for a tournament. And it was literally, you apply it and it's just beautiful. No, it's automatically beautiful.
So best metals I use. Now, you have to be someone who's careful for this. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But actually what I use the Vallejo model airline for my metals whenever I can. The problem I have with GW metals are like a thick paste. Now, you
Yes.
can thin them down appropriately, but I don't want to. So actually, I use airbrush paints for actually a lot of my metal work. It's a little thinner, so you do have to be a little careful. It doesn't work in all circumstances, but I find it goes on nice and smooth. I don't get any of the weird chunking that I do with GW paints. And they have a good amount of tones. And plus, I use an airbrush as well. But I'll do this. I'll paint out of this. So this is here now because when I use it, I paint it by hand.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me see here. But writing down my Titan recipes makes sense. Yeah, no, oh my God. If it's Titanicus, absolutely write it down.
yes.
Lord have
Especially mine.
mercy.
It's 7 paints stippled and dry brushed and washed for every color
So
for
the
the 2 different
Titanicus
types.
I own is actually the only army I have in the glass cases that I did not paint. Right? That was Brett
That's
who
true.
painted those. That's the
Yes.
only army I kept. And usually don't keep armies that I don't paint. This is the only army that I have not painted, but I still kept because I do like Titanicus. Um, and I do not want to ask what the recipe for that is. It looks like a lot of goddamn paints. Um, you should take a deep breath up here. Hell no. Hell no. Although Canada is beautiful. So, side note,
Yes.
I have visited Canada. I visited Montreal, and I visited where the hell
Niagara
is
Falls.
the Niagara Falls? Yeah, but it's not called Niagara Falls. I feel like every Canadian wants to throw like their Tim Hortons at me right now. The hell's that area called? Is it called Niagara Falls? No.
Yes. Did you
Is
actually
it?
go to the falls? Because if so, it's called Niagara
Yeah.
Falls.
Oh, I thought it had like it was like anyway. Montreal was beautiful. If not a little snotty. Sorry, Montrealians.
It's called the
But
French.
honestly, there's yeah, exactly. It was the French, exactly.
Did you do
But no,
the
God,
obligatory because you can drink there younger trip? That's what I did.
no. I went there and I figured out that my wife actually does speak French. Um, and it was more of the no, honey, I don't speak French. And then she goes to the security guard and goes like, and I'm just like, what the hell? And she goes, oh yeah, she told us to go to this restaurant. I'm like, Ari, you said you didn't speak French, and I'm like, and she goes, oh, just a little bit. I'm like, you had a whole full blown conversation. But no, Montreal was great. We went there when it was and it snowed. It was beautiful. It was an Airbnb. Dark Star Molten Metals. I've never. You heard of this?
No, I don't know any of the Dark Star stuff, honestly.
Turbo Dork. I've heard. Turbo Dork
Turbo
because I
Dork,
know
I'm aware of. I don't know any place that has
Josh
it.
has been using their neon stuff. I want to say, and it looks
Yeah,
fantastic. Dark Star Molten. I'm gonna copy that.
I
Maybe that could
know.
be
Wargamers Guild is getting in two thin coats that line in like a couple
Dark
weeks apparently. So I want to grab a few of
Star
those and try those out.
Molten Molten Metals. All right, I'm gonna keep that. Oh,
See
okay,
if
okay. Thanks for the tip there. Because honestly, that's a good tip.
all right. So let's get into some news. Let's go around this.
Yeah.
So news wise, obviously there's the new 40K. We'll get to the new 40K. Do not worry. We'll get to that. For other things,
Go to other things first, essentially.
yeah, I'm just looking for where I had them. Oh, that's why. It's probably in this, just on a different page. There we go. I kept it nice and simple. So, for Age of Sigmar, they are doing a new General's Handbook. What's nice, one thing I really like about the new General's Handbook is that it's going to be for a year.
Don't they wait, it's
They're not doing
oh,
6 months anymore. It's for a year.
oh thank Jesus. Oh, thank you, GW.
Yeah, it's in Frozen Andort or Antdor. It's the 23-24 book, so it will be for a year. Focus this time is wizards. So if you're a wizard,
Oh.
you are getting options like one of your wizards who doesn't have a bunch of one can be an Andorian Locust. He becomes a hero for it. He can cast extra spells and things like that. They of course have a school of magic attached to it. This is like an ice plane. So a lot of it, we've seen some reports of at least some of the spells. Like one of them,
I
your
did see the
caster
leaks,
doesn't
yeah.
move but gains a ward save and a couple other things. Slowing other units down. A variety of pieces. So from what we've seen at least.
That freaks me out as a corn player because we don't take wizards. Although we have a lot of anti-wizard shit, so actually this should actually be fun. One of my favorites is within range. I think it's 18 inches. If you roll a double, it's a miscast.
Yeah.
It's quite fun to play.
I know. I mean, I play Cruel Boys, so we're literally the worst faction. It's not going to matter what they do. We're probably still going to be bad. But they do have that. The fact that it's staying around for a year does make it just a lot better to me because I'll actually play it then. I wasn't playing the other one because it's not around long enough.
Yeah, it
A
changes every
year
six
you can
months.
work with. Less than that, really, honestly, really can't. So, not for the level that I was playing. If I was playing constantly, it would be fine. But if you're only going to put something out every, 6 months, and I'm not playing it as actively, then I feel like I just fall behind.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
That my army is terrible. So
Well, okay. So your army
has been at
isn't
the
terror.
bottom of the
Yeah,
rankings for
since after
6+ months.
Thondia, though.
Yes.
Yeah, because your army is really good at taking down monsters, and so when they had, was it Thondia with the
Yes.
monsters?
Yeah, we were
Yeah,
pretty
you.
good there. The rest of the army was crap, but we could deal with the monsters. But if you brought anything else, we struggled. But now it's not a monster game anymore. So
Although I
we
take
are
monsters,
greatly struggling.
you'd love my list. Like, oh, you took all bloodthirsters, Dan? Okay, death.
Yes. Or like when people played all giants, if they push those giants forward, we're fine. We can crush a full team of giants. But if you play back, then we got to go to you. We kind of need to castle. There's reasons why we're not good, but essentially
Yeah,
we're not very good, and that's kind of very well known.
shame.
So that'll be coming out. I'll try it out once it drops, but I don't really care so much right now about AOS. I'm much more concerned about other games. So the other big bit of news then is Shatterpoint. Shatterpoint just released last week. So for anyone who doesn't know, one, I did put a video of an unboxing. So if you're curious about the game, you can watch that. I do share some of my initial thoughts about the game as well in that. But it is Skirmish Star Wars. As I say in there, think MCP, Marvel Crisis Protocol, in terms of like it's a skirmish game and stuff like that, but then it kind of deviates very quickly. In the game, you are always going to bring two teams. The team is 3 units. You'll have a main, a secondary, and a support. Supports are usually 2 models, so you're looking at 8 models, usually per side. I said playing the game tomorrow for the first time, but everything so far I really do like about it. The models have been some of the smoothest I've ever put together. Even compared to GW, they are going together amazingly well. So I'm really
That's a
enjoying
good.
that
That's
aspect.
actually a good compliment.
Yep.
Because
I've been
GW models are pretty much well known for that.
yes. I've been running my printer, my 3D FDM printer, almost 24/7. I'm currently printing up a non-IP infringing Ewok base. Their Imperial Terrain did it. They're going to put out terrain that's compatible with the core set in 2 days from the timing of this, so it should be Saturday. I'm going to swap over, grab that, and then just start printing that so I got some good full boards. They also have announced, so release-wise, they did the core box. Core box has enough for 2 strike teams. Won't go through what each and every model is, but leader-wise, so you have Asajj Ventress and
Who?
what do you know of Star Wars? Actually, do you know anything?
Uh, you know how people make fun of me on the Facebook chat when I make fun
Yes.
of Star Wars and I don't know? That's usually not a joke.
Okay,
Like I know
I'm
Ahsoka. I know who Ahsoka is.
Ahsoka is in the box as well.
Okay.
Darth
I know
Maul
that
is
one.
the other main leader
I know
on
him.
the CIS side. So Asajj Ventress, someone who knows more could correct me, but essentially Asajj Ventress, she is like Sith side stuff like that, evil, Force user. Just to keep it nice and simple, I don't want to get into heavy details of where she
What does
comes
she
from
look
or anything
like?
like
Like,
that.
is she from a show or something? Or
Yeah, she was in the old canon, and then she was in Clone Wars as well. She is reasonably white-skinned, bald, carries 2 sabers.
yes, yes, yes. I know what you're
Yes,
talking about.
that's Asajj
Yes.
Ventress.
Okay.
So, that's what you get on the essentially CIS side for leaders. The other side, you have, is it you? Oh, why am I blanking on everything now? Because now you don't know any of it. So now I'm like trying to think of other stuff as well.
Ahsoka. You have
Yeah,
Ahsoka. You
yeah, you
said
do have Ahsoka, and
Obi
then you have
Wan
Anakin. Actually, yeah, he's the other
and
one.
Oh, he's on the good side. Oh, I guess it's before he
Yes.
turned.
Yes. They in the future they have shown that they're doing a dual pack with Obi-Wan versus Vader.
Okay.
So that will be a thing as well that's going to come out. They've shown that they have a Mace Windu pack coming in the future. They're doing Padme. Essentially, they're doing a lot of the, for right now, a lot of the original, newer trilogy. There's three of them. So saying originals like 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, I guess is the
Yeah.
best way to put it. Movies 1, 2, 3. They're doing a lot of Clone Wars era stuff, but in the future, they will be doing more Rebellion.
Okay.
They have said that Ewoks will be a thing. They've shown them, but it's like, hey, they'll be in the future. Like, we're not ready to tell you guys more about it yet.
Thank
Same
God.
thing with Han and stuff like that. Um, the Mother Trazyn is coming out. The Inquisitors. Oh, a whole bunch of stuff. Um, Grievous.
Inquisitor, I know because of the video game.
Yep.
That one, I
Um, oh, did you play Jedi Fallen Order?
yes, that's the yes,
Okay. You know the planet Dathomir that they go to, and like the
yes.
friend you get. Yes. So you're essentially getting like that sort of squad. It's not that exact character, but that's what Mother Trazyn is and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. His love interest, perfect. Oh,
Yeah.
spoilers, spoilers. Sorry.
Well, yes. You play the first game, it's clear.
Mm,
But no, I think it's clear in the first game.
okay, good.
Absolutely.
It's clear enough. Okay, good.
Yes, I think it's clear enough. I haven't
Okay,
played the
good.
second, and I already know that's a thing.
Okay, good, 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 good,
Um,
good, good.
I know Grievous pack got delayed. Essentially, in probably about another. I don't know when everything else is falling, but probably about another month, month and a half, we'll start getting a bunch more. Biggest thing, and I said it there, is I want to see when they do more missions or how often we get
Asajj
missions.
Ventress was the Padawan of Doke. Oh, yes,
Thank
then I definitely
you.
know.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, yes, yes,
I couldn't.
yes. Now I know who she is.
Okay, now you figured it out. Thank you.
I
That's very
remember her from the
helpful.
show. Yes. Okay.
I know a good amount
Of
about
course, we
Star
fit.
Wars, but
Oh no! See, I see that Bradley almost immediately when I look up. At least, uh, Dave is on a like 30-minute timer from the chat. I
yeah,
have
I
no idea
can't see
why,
it. I don't know why. It
which
comes
is
in, but it's
weird
coming in
because
real late.
so I tune in to see if like we're muted on the YouTube every now and then, just in case. We're only like 20 seconds behind on the YouTube, so it's just funny
That's
that
about
that's
normal.
like,
No,
yeah,
well, you're just watching the chat is all for me.
yeah. But yeah, no, he's okay. I know exactly who she is then.
Good. But the game, honestly, it does look really good. I printed out a bunch of stuff for it. I'm going to be playing it tomorrow. We got that event where we're going to learn it. So I'm excited about this.
All
So,
right.
like I said,
I mean,
there's plenty of releases, and I predicted this game to get very popular. Everything I've seen so far, it's popular.
now, stupid question.
Yes.
Why do you think this is going to be more popular than shit? I forgot the name of the damn other game.
Legion.
Legion. Yes.
Few reasons. One, small scale. If you don't do a lot of wargaming, it is much easier to get into a skirmish game than a full army game. Two, it is
Okay.
essentially more of just the hero models. There's a lot of people who don't want to, either deal with or paint or work with, oh, here's, 8 of these guys, 10 of these guys. Like, oh no, you're just getting heroes. You do have some rabble, but the rabble is in terms of support, and you only really have to ever paint 2 of them. Yeah, the B ones you had to paint 6 because there's 3 on a stand, but otherwise you're painting 1 or 2 of each of those models. I do think the smaller scale of it, in terms of army size, helps. I think some people do absolutely like skirmish.
That's a what 40 mil scale you said
40
before.
mil, so it is
What the
bigger.
hell terrain? What the hell kind of terrain do you use for that?
So I'm using Legion scale terrain. Legion is 32 mil, so it's pretty appropriate. It's actually pretty close.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, actually, if you vamp for a moment, I'll be back in 1 second.
All right.
Tell them something about custodes.
Uh shoot. I don't know. Oh no, I'm left alone. What do I talk about, guys? Um. Oh no, this is where I blank. Skirmish games, easy to pick up, easy to paint, easy to get.
Okay, you can stop telling them about
1 to 2
custodes.
games in on one night. No, I'm reading the comments. Oh yeah,
Got it.
he's basically agreeing with you, and I
Good.
agree by the way, 100%, Bradley. I'll give you like for example, BattleTech. Even though BattleTech is kind
Here,
no, it's a simulator, but you only have like what maybe 4 mechs at maximum in a game. Sure, you spend 2 to 3 hours in the game, So maybe you're only getting 1 or 2 games in the day, but you're only painting 4 mechs
Yeah.
and you're taking care of 4 mechs. It's super easy. The only skirmish game I really ever played was Infinity. Um, trying to think because I mean Warcry I played, but that I already had figures for, so that doesn't really
Hmm.
count. Kill Team doesn't really count. It's a skirmish game, but I already had 40k models for it. So I think the only real skirmish game oh no, shoot, you mentioned the game before.
Malifaux.
Malifaux. I
Yeah, you
did
played
play
Malifaux with
Malifaux.
us back when
Yes, I
Malifaux was a
did.
thing. So Dan, if you actually look at the camera for a second, here's the difference in scale. These two guys
Oh,
near
that's
each
nothing
other.
at all.
No,
Okay.
no, it's not much.
Okay.
So like doing their terrain is a tiny bit small, but it's not too bad. The only thing you have to be careful with. So Shatterpoint has a rule. Unlike 40k, you can't overhang a base. So if you have a walkway and your model, so this is the biggest base they get. If your model can't fit because the walkway is thin, you're not allowed to stand on it. So
Ah.
like right now for what I'm building, I'm just making sure that I have some walkways for some of these bigger models to fit through and some walkways where they can't. So this is a game that requires levels. It really should be that your objectives and stuff like that is on a variety of levels. That's the way they designed it. So that
Interesting. Okay.
that's the only thing to kind of like keep in mind about it. But
I have to. I agree. Wii games are the best games. Yep, absolutely. Like I said, small games. I do play 30k, 40k, and I mean Titanicus can be big scale too. But I do enjoy BattleTech, which is, even though it's a combat simulator, it still is technically a skirmish.
yeah,
Let's see here.
it's a skirmish game, but it's just not a quick game. Skirmish,
No, yeah.
usually people coincide skirmish with short.
I have to
Not
come
always
down to
true.
Jersey to introduce you guys to Shield Bash.
I don't know what that is. I don't know that one.
Is Shield Bash a game? Have you
It,
heard of it?
no. If they have it on TTS, we can always do it there. I played tons of
Shield
stuff on
Bash.
TTS, but I've never heard of that one.
Almost sounds like a football game, like what you call it, a Blood Bowl. That's another game I played.
I
That's technically a
I
skirm.
I don't like Blood Bowl.
Like, can I take a wild guess why?
Sure.
The dice, the fact that you drop like turnovers and stuff.
No, I'm okay with that because it's Blood Bowl is unfair, but it is unfair to everyone. So I'm okay with that facet. The part I don't like about Blood Bowl is one, it's very slow. It takes forever to play the game. You can go a little faster if people kind of know what they're doing and stuff like that, but even then, it's just a very slow game I find in general, and I just don't really find it that interesting. I
Hmm.
don't feel like you accomplish enough. So like I don't mind the fact that I could fail at something at any point, but I feel like even when everything goes well, I don't feel like I've done much. Just for whatever reason, I've never liked it.
Huh, well, that's a valid point.
Yeah, and there's just plenty of other games or sports games in general. I just don't like because Chaos
I
Ball, any of that kind of stuff. I was never a fan.
just got into Titanicus and I love it. Had my first full rule games on Tuesday. Yeah, Titanicus is by. So I don't know if you heard the podcast or like how close you are about. My top 3 games of all time will always be Epic, BFG, and Titanicus are always tied at one place. And I know it's like, oh, choose one. I can't. They were all specialist games. All of them were excellent. All of them scratched a different itch, and they were amazing. Um, period. Epic was epic. BFG just had that naval space combat that no one has ever been able to replicate. And Titanicus is just big robots, honestly. Um, and
You know,
Titanicus is a wonderful game. It's a
Toy
wonderful
Wiz is
game.
doing a Titanicus
I know. So
event.
they were doing their Titanicus campaign on the day of the Conquest tournament, and I made a decision to go to that.
Yeah,
And then I
but
died. And then I
they're still doing stuff like every other week though for that.
Yeah. Let me see here. Bradley, it's 20 millimeter scale Viking Muppets.
Hmm.
What? It's a little like Infinity, except it's got critical success failures. A spear levy mook can get lucky and gut a troll, or actually leap himself across the battlefield with his own bow. What?
Eh. No, I don't know that one because I know other games like Saga
Yeah,
and stuff like that, but that one I'm not
I've
familiar with.
never heard of that.
No. Well, I mean, the last thing I need is another game. But if it's online, I never mind looking at things. This also, I did buy some Zreikai, wherever it is, like that, battle tanks for Hungarian World War II stuff yesterday. So
Man,
for for
Titanicus.
Flames of War.
And you know what it is too, and I think we've talked about this. I've mentioned this multiple times. The reason Epic and Titanicus top the list, and this isn't true with BFG, but still BFG is space game, so that's why it holds the number one spot. But they're alternate activations. The alternate activation
Yep,
games, in my opinion, are just superior games.
I 100%
Period.
agree. They always are superior, and they
Period.
always will be
Done.
superior.
Over with. It's why Conquest is so popular in my mind. And for me, it's more popular. It's why Titanicus is such a great game. It's why Epic was such a great game, even though I should say is, because some people, but it was because it's no longer supported. Um, Alternate activation is one of those things where, and Infinity does it slightly ish, where you have
Infinity does
reactions.
active, when you're not
Yeah,
active. So you do have to pay attention and stuff happens. So Infinity gets by just fine.
and if it's
I
not
think.
alternate activation, I prefer what BattleTech does, which is everything shoots at the same time. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like I don't know if you ever played Eighth Edition Apocalypse Dave back in the day.
Yes.
Remember what the shooting phase? It was all done simultaneously,
Yep.
and then kills were done at the very end,
Yeah. No, I remember all
which is
that
how
stuff.
Epic was. Yeah, so that is another way I would do it. But there's just so much more in depth. It's just yeah, you have more. Oh, actually, Bradley just said that they're so much more in depth. Yeah, no, it's they just feel better. Your opponent is doing stuff, then you're doing stuff. There's really not a lot of downtime. Um, yeah, it's just a better. There's really
No.
no way 40K can do that anymore.
No. No, the
Kill
system
Team was
itself would buckle under the weight. People even try to one-page rules, and like it doesn't even work there.
yeah. I want to say Kill Team was alternate. I don't remember.
Kill
Now I
Team is.
can't remember. Kill Team is
Yeah.
all right.
They usually GW's always done their skirmish things as like alternating and kind of like doing what they should. Yeah, that's always been a thing. But all right. I think that gets us through most of that pieces. So maybe we'll move on to what we kind of called the main topic, although we're more just rambling a little bit and discussing thoughts. Which I have to say I do really enjoy doing like the breakdowns and stuff like that, but it is nice at times to be able to actually just have a discussion.
Yeah.
But we wanted to talk some new 40K since that is the new hotness otherwise on the scene
It
and
is the
is
new
probably going to be
hotness.
for a bit.
I'll agree.
So
So
we've known for a super long time they're going to do this. Everyone knew it was the worst kept secret ever. Um, I remember they did announce it when we did our other live that we did, and I was very surprised because I said two things wouldn't happen on the live, and they did both of them. I was I was surprised how little they saved for themselves. I didn't think they'd want to do the Lion and or the new edition when it wasn't like their stream, like in terms of their event, but they did.
yeah, they did.
So
Well, 10th released. I will say I absolutely despise the drip feed information that they've been doing this week. It's been driving me actually absolutely up the wall.
I agree.
I hate drip feed information. Um, but that being said, let's talk about it. The rules have been posted. I mean, we could talk ad nauseum about the rules.
Well,
We will
let's
eventually break
let's start the
down.
discussion with the rules a little
Oh,
bit.
okay,
That
okay.
makes
Let's
the
start
most
then.
sense to start with. Because
Okay,
otherwise, I mean, we don't know every faction, and we haven't played them yet, so we can give initial thoughts on some factions. But no, I
exactly.
want to start rules.
So, I
So,
mean,
yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
And I was literally just going to ask. So far from what you've seen, what do you think of the rules themselves? We'll
I
get into some of the differences as well.
absolutely love the rules. Now, there's going to be. I'm going to start with my con first,
Okay.
and then I'm going to move to my pros. The big con that I saw with the rules, and it seemed like I was right, was I think 2 weeks ago. I was like, it seems like deadly wounds are going to be a problem if they stack up with like lethal hits or anything, right? This seems like it can be. And I was like, but they maybe thought about it in the armies. And then Deathwatch came out and a couple of things, and I was like, oh crap, Deathwatch one squad can put out 90 mortal wounds. Now, for GW's, now this is where I get to for GW's benefit, they fixed that
Yes, they
immediately.
have.
And that's the beauty with a digital rule set. Maybe they didn't realize it. You can literally just be like, oopsies, we didn't realize this was an interaction. Here's an updated rule set. So they reprinted the Deathwatch rules and added that little caveat in there of what it can and cannot interact with. 5 seconds. Took them 5 seconds to fix it. Like, why they didn't do this in ninth edition, 8th edition, 7th edition, 6th edition is beyond. But you know what? We're in 10th edition, digital rule set. They've moved on. I'm hoping they realize how.
They're still going to do codexes, you know.
Yeah, but I heard the codexes were all digital still.
They're not printing any of them? I don't believe that.
No, they're going to print them, but they're going to have a digital rule set. I guess the print has the fluff and the digital has just the rules. That's what I heard.
I would like that to be true. So
I'm hoping it's true. Maybe we all misunderstood.
I mean, the fluff is good. I have no problem that they want to put out books for stuff like that. I don't want my rules ever locked behind it. So, biggest changes.
Yeah.
In the new edition. What do you feel? We can go through what some of the biggest changes are.
I mean, the biggest change for me was Battle Shock.
Yes. So, what is Battle Shock?
I'm gonna have to pull up the rules for that one.
Okay.
So
I can explain it without looking at the rules then.
Oh, good. Then that one, yes.
Yes. So Battle Shock is when you have a unit below half strength, or other cases, they have to take a Battle Shock test. You roll 2 dice, and you need to meet or beat your leadership score. So you're looking at average of 7. A lot of units have 7, some better, some worse. If you pass it, you're fine. If you fail, though, a few things happen. 1, your objective control goes to 0. Now, if you happen to play Dark Angels, it actually goes to 1, but everyone else it goes to 0, so you can't hold objectives anymore. If you decide to fall back, you have to do an emergency. Desperate Escape. Desperate Escape means that every model rolls a die on a 1 or 2, destroyed. And you can't play stratagems on them. So Battle Shocking is huge. If you're actually Battle Shocked, you are reasonably crippled. So,
let's see. Bradley Dunn, I would be generally shocked if they go full War Machine, fluff book, and digital rules. That'd be a huge departure from their business model. Yeah, I agree. It's what they said they were going to do, but also it's Games Workshop.
Yeah. Step 1 is that. Step 2 is 3D printed models. They'll go all War Machine.
Yeah, Plastic Thunderhawk. Molly, it would be ideal if I never bought a physical codex again. Oh my God, please. I would still, here's the thing. I would still buy the codex because I actually, call me stupid, I actually like the pic. I just realized I'm talking with my hands and you can't see my hands.
We can see it. I can see an arm.
Well, an arm. Yeah, I was doing this. I talk a lot with my hands and I realized this as I watch the camera.
You're not even Italian.
Oh my God, Jesus. So anyway, I would still buy the physical book only because I kind of am a geek and I kind of like the pictures and the story and the fluff. And there is something about a hardcover book, which is funny because I never actually bring it to the store. I buy the book and then use the iBook copy on my iPad and bring that with me because it's easier. But it'd be interesting if they actually the transition. I would really be interested. But yeah, that's Battle Shock. Battle Shock is definitely a big change from that.
I would like to see them not worry about the books. Sell us on models. When someone comes in the store and they want to buy some stuff, I sell them on models. I'm not worried about selling them on books. If you want more of the fluff, hey, you got books over there. You can look it up. There's other spots to get that, but like, let's get you some models. Let's get you playing a game. Yeah, so Battle Shock is huge. I'm looking at a different list of big things. Command points, the fact that you don't start with any.
Yes, you start with 0, then you get 1 every player battle round.
Yeah, every player turn. Every turn.
Player
turn. Yes. Battle round's the full thing.
Got it. You know what's funny? Age of Sigmar, I think, reverses that.
Well, no. So here they call it rounds. In Age of Sigmar, they're battle rounds, but it's the same thing.
Okay, got it. But the cool thing is with command points is you could find ways to generate them. So, like for example, Eldar, if you take the Guardian squad, which no one ever used to take, but now their job is if they're sitting on an objective, they just generate a CP for you, that's awesome. I know one of the Inquisitors, I think it's Kotiaz, which I don't own. I have to buy him. Kotiaz, if you use a command point, he generates command point on a 2+ because he's got spies in your army, which is
All right.
hilarious. Um, but yeah, that's really cool. I do like the change to command points, which I'll take the next one. I like the change to stratagems. You now
Oh, it's
have
huge. So good.
universal stratagems. I think I was printing
There's
out yours
11.
today, by the way. There's 11 universal. Okay.
Yeah.
There's 11 universal. And then there are,
Like 6 per faction.
yes, it's about 6 to 7 per faction. But what's really cool, and I was explaining this to another guy today, what's really, really cool is that right now, Index Hammer, right? We only have those 6 stratagems for that detachment, right? So for Necrons, they only have that one detachment for Index Hammer. When the
Yeah.
Codex comes out, there's going to be 4 or 5 detachments. Now you might be saying, "Oh my God, each is going to have a strat." Blah, 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 blah. But the stratagems are detachment locked,
Yes.
meaning the moment you change your detachment, those stratagems that you were using no longer exist, or maybe they're shared, but they transfer to another detachment. So if I know you're playing, I don't know, freaking, well, give me a Necron Dynasty. I'm trying to think of
There's
like,
only one of it. No, they did it differently. We don't get the dynasties the
uh,
same way. There's
no,
one
I know,
thing
but what is
overall.
it? What is your detachment called? I should
Oh,
say.
why do you gotta ask me such things? The edition even you printed it for me?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Give me a
I'm just gonna.
second.
You get like the Sotec detachment, whatever. It's something Egyptian
No,
sounding. We're close enough.
no, actually, it's not. No, it's much more general than that. Where the hell? Oh, here we go. Let me take a look. You
What's
can
it
talk
called?
about
What
other
they call?
stuff. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Somewhere.
The point I'm trying to make is those stratagems are now detachment locked. Those enhancements are detachment locked. So you're not carrying around 30 freaking stratagems in your head. You're carrying around 6 plus the 11 in the codex.
Awakened Dynasty.
Oh, there we go. See, you are the Awakened Dynasty. Maybe when the Codex comes out, you're gonna have the Awakened Dynasty, the Sotec Dynasty, the Flesh Eater Dynasty, whatever the hell they want to call it. And each one of those will have their special moments, but they're only gonna have 6 stratagems. For those who played Ninth Edition and played Demons, this is exactly how Demons played in Ninth Edition. When I had Khorne and I played Mono Khorne, right? I had access to 4 stratagems plus the 6 or 7 stratagems that were general chaos. That was it. That's I love that. God, I love that so much. That to me makes it so much nicer and
Yes.
simpler and easier to balance, in my opinion, honestly.
Oh, it's much
Because
easier to
now,
balance.
yeah, because now you have these 6 stratagems locked to a detachment. You don't have to worry about the other detachment. You don't have to worry about other interactions with other detachments because they don't actually take that stratagem, right? Like if I like custodians right now have a 4+ save against mortal wounds, right? That's their detachment rule. Imagine if a new stratagem comes out with another detachment that says, "Oh, we get a, I don't know, freaking, we ignore rend, right, for 1 unit." Well, now someone will be like, "Oh my god, that stacks too hard with the 4+ to ignore mortal," but it doesn't matter because that's a different detachment, it has a different detachment rule. So it's just cool. It's easier to balance. And it's easier to teach, easy to learn,
It, it's
just easier
it's
in
better for the
general.
game overall because having less stratagems is useful. It when you have 30 of them, were you gonna realistically need all 30? Never.
No,
But are you going to find that weird case where one of them that's never used becomes great? Or say I'm playing somewhere and I can't remember your one odd stratagem. Well, hey, guess what? We played the only time it was ever useful, and then hey, you got me.
yeah,
I don't like games that
yeah.
have gotcha moments. I
No,
don't
I don't.
want, especially in something like this, I don't want there to be anything like that. So a less stratagems is good for both sides, and having a giant list that's shared is helpful. You get very few stratagem points, so you're gonna have to really wait to use them anyway. So you don't need as many. You needed more stratagems when you're getting like 30 points.
Now, what's
You're not
really
getting anything
funny
like
though
that.
is
Yeah,
slight complication with custodies.
of course
Our
there is.
shield captains do something really weird where if you're attached to a squad, they can make a stratagem just cost completely free.
That's actually a common thing. There's quite a
Oh,
few people who
okay.
have stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
they do it. Oh, okay. So
It's
that's
not
why I'm
like
laughing
all
because
over
it's
the
just like,
place. Like you might have a little more than others, but no, there's different characters and ways. I have several ways to count like something as free once a round, or maybe once in a game,
oh,
or
got
stuff
it,
like
got it.
that. It's no one yet, and this is a plus to me, and maybe at first it won't sound like one. No one yet has something so bespoke that they're the only ones with it in any way whatsoever, other than like your base like faction rule.
Attachment, yeah, exactly. Your faction rule.
Yeah, but like, so they brought back USRs, Universal Special Rules, which was much.
That's the
needed
next thing. Yeah, that was the next thing.
Because you have a thing like Feel No Pain. Everyone called it Feel No Pain. There was no Feel No Pain last edition. That didn't exist.
Oh,
There
God,
was
yeah.
Disgustingly Resilient. There was all these different rules. You know, you weren't bespoke because of those rules, because other people had it, but they changed it a little bit. They made it wonky. Well, now, no. Your bespoke rule is like your main detachment rule. That's your bespoke stuff. Everything else, like, you got that thing. I probably got it somewhere. Maybe you have more of it. Maybe I'm really limited with what I have. But if you can get some free 0 point CP stuff, I can get a little bit. I have some ways to get that. Like, that's good because it unifies what sorts of things you see in the game, what sorts of things you want to learn, what kind of things you need to learn, and what your expectation would be. So that means if I'm going into game, I'm like, ooh, I looked at your stratagems. I know they're real good. Hey, what gives you freebies? I know to ask that question. We can have a more informed and intelligent game because I have ideas of things you could do because I do similar stuff. What would I do if I came to like tomorrow? My hope is to play someone in 40K. What I'm going to ask is, you know, what's your detachment rule? What's your army rule? And then, like I said, if I'm worried about something like that, what gives you like, you know, free stratagem use?
Yeah.
What gives you like, ooh, I don't want those mortal wounds. And what gives you what is it? Lethal wounds? Is that the one?
And that's what I was just going to say. So
Yeah.
let me back up a little bit.
Kind of stuff.
Let me back up real quick because you mentioned USRs. This is the next change besides the big thing, Universal Special Rules, and I absolutely love this. I will say, my prediction was correct with lethal wounds and its interactability with certain things. But in my opinion, and I was talking about this with the 30K guys a little bit, my opinion, it's actually a very easy fix. It's basically so the idea of lethal wounds. Let me point out real quick. Lethal wounds is the idea on a roll of a 6, you inflict that damage in mortal wounds. Mortal wounds and vulnerable saves are wound roll of a 6.
Yep.
The problem is, this is where the problem comes in. It interacts with two separate rules. It interacts with, let me lower my finger. It interacts with two special rules. It interacts with lethal. Lethal basically makes you wound on that amount. So if you're lethal infantry 2+, if you play heresy, this is very much like poison 2+ or rad 2+. You inflict those wounds on a 2+. The problem with this, lethal hits is not on a natural wound of 6.
Don't bang the table. That's the thing not to do. Talk with your hands, but don't bang the table.
It doesn't say natural wound of 6. It just says wound of 6. Technically,
no. What it says is a critical wound. That's the ruling.
Yeah.
And a critical wound is on a natural 6 unless you have a different rule. So if you have anti-blank, it causes a critical wound on that number.
Exactly.
That's the issue.
Honestly, they just needed to decouple that. That's like the easiest thing to do because there's two main problems. I have a lethal weapon that is also deadly, or sorry, that's also anti. And you have the Eldar problem, which I've talked ad nauseum with other people, but I'll kind of TLDR it here.
Yes.
The Eldar problem is essentially that they can have Strands of Fate, which is only just 12 dice at the end of the game. Whatever they roll, they can use that value of the dice for anything. Now, it's only 12 dice, but they have ways to manipulate the dice and also gain more dice. So let's say I roll out of 12 dice, I only roll 2 6s. If I have 2 Spirit Seers and a Farseer, I can make another 3, 4, 5, 5 dice 6s out of that pile, which is insane. So honestly, decoupling from anti, and then the Eldar thing is super easy to fix, by the way. All you have to do with the Eldar thing is just say Strands of Fate, the die. You can only use 1 die in 1 unit per turn. That's it, per player turn. Because what you can do, and what people have found out, is I can take, for example, my Wraith Guard, which is not even the worst case scenario, by the way. The D cannons are the worst, by the way. When you could take my Wraith Guard, right, and I could shoot 10 D cannons, and out of those 10 D cannons, let's say 7 will hit. So hit on 3s. Give me a second here. 7 will hit? Yes. 6.5. Dave is laughing.
7. It's okay.
7. All right. 7 will hit. 6 will wound because they're most likely wounded on 2s. Out of those 6, I could take two of the 12 sixes that I rolled statistically, and then another four that I can change because the Farseer and Spirit Seer, and make that literally, what did I say, six times six, 36 mortal wounds.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Ignore line of sight, by the way. Toss that in. Oh, that's the Wraith Guard don't ignore line of sight, but the D cannons do. So yeah, it's all you have to do. Literally, the only words you have to put is Strand of Fate dice. You can only use one dice per player turn on a unit. Done. Hell, you could even make it a little more stronger. You could say one dice per phase. So you could use it in the shooting, close combat, whatever. You know what I mean? You can say per phase. But the problem is, you know what you have? The Dweg problem. With the, remember how we were talking about how like you could dump 12 dice to pass all your saves?
Yep.
That's essentially what that is.
Yeah, it absolutely needs to be fixed. I do hope they fix it soon. I'm curious to see exactly how they fix it. What way do they do that? Because I want simple fixes, and I want fixes that will matter for other things as well, if other things become an issue. Like, don't fix this in some way that then when someone else gets a rule, it's not going to help them either. But
now, I will say the other problem, and this is more just people being stupid. And God, I'm sorry. And listen, I'm not calling you stupid if you believe this, but
kind of are.
Honestly, please don't do this. The other problem is that last edition, we had a rule that says if something reduces you by one, right, the minimum damage is one.
Yeah,
so let's say I menaced it. Yeah. They don't have the rule in that rule book. So let's say, for example, you are Deathwing, right? Deathwing reduce damage by one, always. But they also have a stratagem that reduces damage by another one. So they can be -2 if they want. Does that mean if I shoot them with a heavy bolter, I do 0 damage? Because technically,
yes, get wrecked.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know here's what's odd, Dave. I don't know if you noticed this too. Someone pointed this out. So Imperial Guard came out yesterday, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed this. Ogrins in their data sheet, Ogrins have a very specific wording that says it cannot be reduced below 1. Yep. So people are like, wait. So can you be reduced to 0 damage? And I'm really hoping that's not true, because that is super dumb.
I want to say it's the Carnifex. I forget which one, but I saw it originally on one of the Tyranid groups because one of theirs says the same, but it doesn't give a minimum.
It's the Tyrannifex?
It might be. I don't remember which one. I just remember there's one that has that.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that like GW addresses this. They will probably very quickly, and if they don't, I'm hoping people don't play it as like. Listen. There are a lot of 1 damage weapons in the game. There are a lot of 2 damage weapons in the game. 3 less so, 4 less so, so on and so forth. But for Deathwing being -2 damage, that's a little much.
Yes, I can't imagine that's the intention. That's absolutely nuts if that's the intention. But
I'm gonna say no.
The fact they haven't fixed it yet. Not that it worries me that they're not going to, but I just find it odd. Like, why haven't?
Yeah, it is odd because they fixed the mortal wound thing, but I think it's because the mortal wound thing did much more of a damage control. Like it was more like, oh crap, people are really complaining about this.
Yes.
Not many people are complaining about damage 0 because I think most people are like, this is not how it's supposed to be written. They're more like internally fixing it, if that makes any sense.
Yes. There's no assumption that GW got it right. We feel GW got it wrong, so we're just going to play what we think.
Like the other one with Deathwatch, it was clear as day, plain as sight, this was 90 mortal wounds out of 1 squad. Versus this one where it's like no.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm onto the Nuln Oil. People ask how quickly I paid. I just painted 6. How long have we been podcasting for?
Hour and 46 minutes.
An hour and 46 minutes. 6 Aquilons almost done. They're on the Nuln Oil stage. Now, this is what takes the longest, waiting for the Nuln Oil to dry. This is how I paint this quickly. Oh, Aubrey, you guys are making me you guys are making me interested in 10. Please stop. Listen, okay. Aubrey.
Here's the better question. What army do you have an army now? Because if you have an army now, you can get in to play for free. You don't have to spend anything on it.
Spend $0.
If you don't, then that's another thing. Although I say that,
Mm.
but I'm getting someone's Marine half for cheap.
Oh, there we go.
Well, what I
It
so
is.
the reason I'm doing that, I looked and I said, okay, let me take a look. How much 30K stuff can I use here? Because as I told the 30K group, I'll do Dark Angels, and I'm just going to say they're wearing throwback jerseys. I'm going to paint them all black.
Yeah.
But looking at it, there's quite a bit. I got a bunch of normal Marines. They do have Contemptors still. That not all Contemptors are Relic, or they call it Relic or whatever,
No,
but
I
it's
think
not
you
like
only
the
get the options
Legacy.
of what you
Uh,
get assault cannon
and
and
Multi Melta.
mold. Yeah,
Multi
that's
Melta is
it.
the one I take anyway.
Oh,
So
perfect.
we have those. I got a couple of those guys. I have Cataphracti. I have other units that can stand in as things that look pretty similar. I do have a 3D printer now, so I can print off like some spare weird guns to kind of fit some stuff. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let me pick these guys up. They're I'm getting them cheap. That'll give me something different. Also, especially this way, if we start recording stuff, some battle reports for it, I got some different things to work with.
Ironically, I have three armies for 40K:
Yes, you do.
Eldar, Custodes, and Demons. So I can absolutely vary it up on that one.
Yeah, I couldn't, so I was like, you know what? If I do this, this lets me vary it up. That's a good thing. Look at this go.
All painted by me. Yay. The only ones I kept. But yeah, no. Listen, Aubrey, listen. I will shit on GW whenever
No,
I can.
not too much, because sooner or later we're gonna
They will
ask
no, but
them
no, I will
for
no, no. I will
stuff.
shit on them when they need to be. Right when they do stupid things. This is not one of those cases. 10th edition, from what I've seen, is a real big win in
Yes.
terms of army, in terms of just gameplay. We haven't seen the missions yet,
Um.
but from what I've seen from the
No, we've seen them. If you look at
no
that the thing they put
missions
out,
get
the more
released
fun.
tomorrow.
Yeah, you can see a bunch of the missions. The missions are
No,
fine, from what I've
no
seen.
mission packs are released tomorrow.
Yeah, but I've seen like store copies of the mission
Oh
stuff.
yeah, yeah. I haven't seen the store copies yet. That's why, but they get released tomorrow. Like the actual different mission packs get released tomorrow. So like honestly, like I said, I will shit on GW when they need to be shit on. This is definitely not one of the times. I think this is a major W for GW.
In
And I'm very surprised
Index
because
40K is always a good thing. The
yeah.
question is what's going to happen when it goes out of index.
Now I this goes back to I think it was Bradley who said this or Molly. If they keep this, like let's say they release a codex and it's just extra detachments and because they'll do it. They said they're gonna do more detachments and stuff, right? So it's more
Yes.
detachments up, but it can be bought digitally. That's it, right? Then listen, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. If they start the problem though, here's the problem. The problem with that is that then you're releasing codexes as time goes on, and the codexes that are released earlier tend to basically be weaker
Yes.
than the codexes released later, right?
Absolutely.
So maybe they learned their lesson? Question
It's
mark?
it's a really big wait and see, and that's my only real concern about the edition is that we don't know what's going to happen when they release more stuff. So like I
Yeah.
know Necrons are one of the first codexes. They've shown
Is
that.
it?
Yes.
I know Custodes is. That's why I was
Yeah,
like,
no,
oh,
Necrons are even earlier. They're like the second codex.
oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like Space Marines, and it's like Necrons. Because remember, they were the first ones in the previous edition, so they're like the oldest overall. But if the gains are minimal, I'm happy. I don't want there to be much change. My concern is, oh, maybe there won't be much change this codex or that one. Ooh, yeah, maybe someone else gets a little more. Maybe when it was said actually really good yesterday with a store I was hanging out with. He said, they had a meeting about toning things down, but how many of them listened? It's like, oh, the guy who did the Death Guard, he listened. Then he walked out of the room, and everyone else realized that they didn't hear what was said. You know,
Mm,
so it's like, are they going to keep it where you only gain a little bit? What I would love to see, hey, your codex dropped, you got a new unit or two. We gave you a couple new detachments. They're fine. Nothing too great. You're on your way. If they just do that, the game will be great. It doesn't
I
need
agree.
more.
Doesn't need more.
But they tend not to do that. There tends to be more. And
Yeah.
I don't want more. I want simple. Keep it simple and I'll be happy. Um, other big addition changes, flyers. The fact that
That
flyers turn
was a big.
after they move now is huge.
So here's another thing that I didn't know about flyers. You
Yeah.
it no longer ignores vertical distance.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
That's massive.
Yes.
That's huge because like my custodian's bikes, they moved. Well, now they only move 12 inches, but before they used to move what 14, 16 inches, and it was like zoom around the board over buildings. Now, haha, those
Yeah.
buildings actually. Although it doesn't make sense for me that like
You
fly
hover
like
rather
they're
than fly.
yeah, but
That's all
yeah,
it
no,
is.
that's interesting.
Yeah, that one's interesting. The fact that you can walk over stuff, but vehicles and monsters can't walk over other vehicles and monsters. Otherwise, like, hey, that vehicle's rich, go over it. You
Yeah,
don't have to go around anymore. Can't go over enemies and all. One spot that I think is weird that I'm waiting for them to change. When you're in
interesting.
close
Go ahead.
combat and you pile
Yeah,
in, or
yeah,
you consolidate to the closest enemy models or enemy
okay.
unit, however they word it. Not too concerned about that particular wording for the moment. But there's nothing that prevents you from consolidating into someone who wasn't in combat before.
You've always been able to do that.
Yeah, that just seems yeah, but before
That
there
was
was also
actually
rules about when you did that, who could strike at them or if you could or not. Like you
yeah,
weren't
yeah.
allowed to.
So no, that was the old edition where like let's say you were I
I
piled into a
thought ninth you
combat.
could consolidate into someone, but you can't swing at them, but they can swing at you.
Yes, that's what it is.
There's no rule like that.
No, I think in this
If
I
you're
don't I have
engaged,
to
you can
recheck
swing
it.
at someone, and if you pull
No,
them
but the
in, you're now
consolidate
engaged with them.
happens. Yeah, but the consolidate happens after you swing, right? So like you pile in, swing, they swing on you, or sorry,
Now it's a
pause.
pile in versus consolidate.
Yeah, pile that you pile in, right?
Oh,
You
now you're making me
swing,
look it up. I got it on my phone.
yeah, you pile in, swing, then you consolidate, and in your consolidate, if you tap another squad, they're now in combat. You can't swing on them because you already swung, right?
Maybe that's the way it always was. Or in that it always was. Oh, pile in.
Yeah, maybe I'm going crazy. Check it.
Let me see for pile in.
But you did
Uh,
not declare them as a target, so I don't think you can.
oh no, when you pile in, you can move each
Yep.
model in the unit that's not already in base contact with an enemy model up to 3 inches. That's the pile in move. You have to do it, so on and so forth. It must move closer to the closest enemy model. You can also
Yep.
end that move in base to base contact with one or more enemy models. Then it must do so. So that's the pile in. You can do that. Then you make melee attacks.
So now check charge and melee. Check to see if you only can melee against a unit that you have declared a charge
No.
against.
Make melee attacks. When a unit makes melee attacks before resolving those, a model may fight if it's engagement range of an enemy model.
Oh,
Yeah. So currently, now they could mean a little different, anything like that. But currently, the way it looks is you can like let's say you got like a thin lane. I'll charge these guys. These guys are closer. I'll consolidate into them and then swing at them, or by positioning. You do have to move closest, so it would be tough to engineer it in such a way that like helps you a lot. But it is little weird changes like that they've done to this edition that people are gonna have to pay attention to. That seemingly for the moment works different.
yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Keywords I'm really liking. I'm looking for some that kind of spits out some of the big differences. Characters and units is such a
Oh
wonderful
yes,
thing.
that's such. Oh my god, thank you, GW. Please, thank you. Okay. So this I can talk ad nauseum about. I won't because I won't bore people here. But I hated with a passion, and I hated in Sigmar too, the idea of a leader just standing next to a squad and not
He's
actually
hanging
joining.
out with his bros. That's all.
Yeah, I hated it because one, it doesn't make sense, like fluff wise, right? But on top of that, it led to some serious stupid bullshittery, like bodyguard, right?
Yes.
Like bodyguard and then behind ruins and that whole nonsense, right? It just it doesn't like oh he's close enough. It counts as a unit, but he's not really part of the unit. He's his own. No, it is dumb, and I hate it in Sigmar. I despise it in Sigmar, and I hate it in 40k. It's annoying. It was stupid. No. Now, not only can they join units, now they buff the units they join. Like they'll say, oh, if the unit that they join and them get I don't know, like for custodians, they get sustained hits or some nonsense, right?
Yes, they get
So it's
sustained
like
hits.
they not only like buff like them, they buff the unit that they join as well, which is just that's so cool, you know. So like for example, Trajan when he joins, or sorry, Valerian when he joins, he actually reduces the incoming rend by one to that unit. That's awesome because they're basically his bodyguard and he's like an artificer. So he like
Mhm.
artificers their armor essentially to be better. That's cool. That to me is awesome. That's fluffy. It makes sense. He's in the unit. Beauty. So
I
yeah,
do like that they're in there. There, you still have some characters who are separate, but they have lone operator
yeah,
rules.
lone
They take a
operator.
shot. Like
Yeah,
they did that very well. I do like the options that they did there. I do like the way they put all that together. So I'm happy. Overall, I'm pretty much happy with everything I've seen base rules wise. I don't really have any problems with the sorts of things that have come out. We'll see as time goes. My biggest concern is always what's going to happen in time, but for the
yeah,
moment, I like what I see. All right, we have some factions, so we can discuss a little bit of some of our faction rules, obviously, and
yeah.
things we've seen. We are going to want to do a full sort of discussion once we have it. Once we've gotten some games in and I've
The
read through more of it.
points,
I
also
have
points.
also points. That's the biggest thing. Like we can talk about base ideas, but I wouldn't want to talk about like say Astra Militarum, who I don't know that great, especially when I don't see their points and I want to kind of like really look them through first. But we do want to discuss other factions. We won't be
Wait on.
not talking
GW
30K for a
has
while,
never
but we will be talking some other stuff too because this is
GW
fun.
has never launched the product they couldn't overcomplicate, but there's always time for a first. So far, AT has been free of the rule. Yep, very true. AT has
Let's
been
keep in
free of.
mind though, AT is free some of that because it's like a third party specialist game.
Yeah.
Step cousins hang out in the corner. It also hasn't gotten a lot of releases lately other than some guns. So there's a little bit of a reason there why you haven't seen other stuff. Put a little blue
But
in this beard.
I agree. I'm hoping they don't overcomplicate. Fingers crossed, please. GW, please.
Unless I know the cameras don't show up great for this painting. We'll do some other ones in the future. But if anyone's ever trying to paint white, easy way to paint like beards and stuff like that, put blue in it. Usually, if you actually take a look, there's usually a little bit
Or,
of blue or off color. So that's usually a good way to get a good contrast color to beards and white hair.
well, I was just going to say, or what you do is you paint white and you use contrast apothecary white, which, funny enough, has gray and blue in it,
Yes.
which is hilarious. That's why I did a lot of my Dweg beards very quickly.
Yeah.
You paint it white. Uh, I actually did put no, I didn't even put no oil. I just put apothecary white in there, and apothecary white is like a weird grayish blue, and
Yep.
it's perfect. It looks beautiful.
You use a lot. You use a lot more contrast than I do. I use some depending on the thing,
It
but
depends
even
on
if
the
I
model.
do, I
Like,
do a lot more on top of that, or I'll use contrast as a piece. Like I use the way I get a lot of my metal effects. If I'm looking for like a bronze, I'll put down a much lighter metal, and then I'll go over with a Fire Slayer flesh or whatever it is. I'll use that. That's actually how I do certain metal paints.
Warner Cousin Consortium. To be fair, although new guns is one of those areas where 100% they could have broken the power curve wide open, and they didn't. That is true. They absolutely could have wanted to sell more. What's the newest gun? Conversion beamers? No, was it conversion beamer
For what?
for Titanicus?
Yes, conversion beamers were the
Yeah.
newest
So
ones.
they absolutely could have broken open the power curve and made everything broken all of a sudden, but they didn't. So you know what? Props to them. And by the way, Molly Bradley, since you came in a little bit later, I was going to say enjoy this arch demon that will be coming later on for my demon army. It's so hard to get a picture of because the angle of
Well,
this camera is
yes. Well, that's all right.
so there it is there.
All right, so pick
He
one
is
of your armies. Tell me about them.
you
Tell
know,
me
I'll do
basics.
demons. I'll do
Basics.
demons first.
All
I'll do
right,
demons.
that's fitting.
So demons. Demons are awesome. Let me pull up. I will pull up their thing very quickly, which I should have done before, but actually, where
If you want to show something in particular, let me know. I can pull it up as well.
is it? Downloads? Is it under
It's
downloads
down.
or
I think so. I preloaded
Warhammer forty
everything.
thousand? Nope. Nope. How about
Just
downloads?
look up like
I have to look up
rules.
the article. No, that's fine. It's fine.
I looked up rules and found them all.
So give me a second. Let me. I just got to scroll for a little bit. Uh, free Imperium cards. There we go. Free uh, Xenos cards. There we go. And then I just need Let the Galaxy Burn. Perfect.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yep. All right, so let's go scroll down demons. So demons are super awesome. So demons, their special snowflake rule um, is one, they get demonic packs, so they can actually ally with chaos depending on the size of the game. I'm not going to care about that. I'm not going to really talk about it because I don't ally. But it is cool. You can have like 250 points, 500 something, whatever. Who cares? The big thing is Shadow of the Chaos or Shadow of Chaos. So basically, what happens is there's these zones called Shadows of Chaos that do certain things. Your deployment zone is always a Shadow of Chaos. If you control at least half of the objective markers within no man's land, until the end of your phase, that area becomes Shadow of Chaos. And then if you can control half of the objectives in your opponent's deployment zone, it becomes Shadows of Chaos. All right. So basically, yours is always a Shadow of Chaos, and then you have to control half the objectives in no man's land for that to be Shadows of Chaos, and your opponent's zone for Shadows of Chaos. So what does this do? Well, first of all, if your army takes battle shock within Shadows of Chaos, you add 1 to that test, right? And if it's passed, you just regain D3 lost wounds or D3 destroyed models.
That's pretty big.
That's now it has to be a battle line unit for the destroyed models. So you're not
Okay,
getting
good.
D3 blood crushers back. Get out of here with your
That's good.
nonsense. But that is really, really good. That is a consistent D3 back because I mean, in your deployment zone, in the mid board, hopefully you're winning. So that's D3 back there or D3 wounds. On top of that, when the enemy is within your Shadows of Chaos and they take a battle shock test, you subtract 1 from the test. And if they fail, D3 mortal wounds.
Don't bang that table.
Okay, D3 mortal wounds. D3 mortal wounds. So that's pretty big. They also have warp rifts as their final rule, where basically if you're setting up deep strike, you can set up wholly within Shadows of Chaos, set up anywhere within the Shadows of Chaos, more than 6 inches horizontally and 9 instead of 9 inches. So you can actually set up 6 inches away from someone if you want in Shadows of Chaos, which is big because you could still charge.
Yes.
Other than that, they have some really cool stratagems. They can make a sticky objective, which just means if you can hold the objective and then it stays yours until someone takes it. What's cool is this is done in the movement phase. So that's awesome. You can move on to it. Oh, no, sorry. It's the start of command phase. Apologies. The Custodes one is in the movement phase. You can improve the armor penetration by 1. And if it's battle shock, you can reroll the wound roll, which is great. You can warp surge. You can advance and charge, which is amazing. You can for 1 CP, you can't charge when you do this, but you could set up 3 inches away from someone, which is hilarious.
I mean,
Uh,
you're putting a time limit on them then, because like I'm right
yeah,
here. You're gonna have to
deal with
deal
me.
with me, and if you can't, you know what I do.
You can take your unit, 2 units, up to 2 units, and put them into deep strike in the middle of the game. They have to be in your Shadows of Chaos, and they can't be in engagement range, but that's pretty cool. And during the shooting phase, I can reroll saving souls of 1. Okay. So pretty cool stratagems all around the board. Their enhancements are completely demon locked. So I'm only going to, I'll talk about all of them, but
You don't have to
Corn,
go through it in crazy detail.
yeah,
That's okay. You
but
can go more overall ideas.
yeah, but Corn and Nurgle are my favorite so far. Nurgle being a 4+ feel no pain. So just put that on Fatty and laugh. That's pretty much. And Cord is pretty damn good. Cord is you get one attack, one extra strength, but if you're in Shadows of Chaos, two extra attacks, two extra strength. Um, Other than that, there's some really cool units. So like Scarbrand, obviously is Scarbrand. You can kind of ignore him a little bit. Bloodthirsters are Bloodthirsters. They do damage. What I'm really excited about is someone like Skulltaker. Skulltaker is a really cool model. He's the one with like the skulls all over his cloak. I don't know if people actually like know who I'm talking about. But essentially it's he's got like his skulls all over his cloak, but it's really cool because one, he's a monster now. 6 attacks, hits on 2, strength 6, AP 2, damage 3. Now, mind you, if you give him the relic, now he's 8 attacks, strength 8. Ooh.
What page is he?
On the demons, he's page 11.
Okay, that's pretty fast. Then.
4 up invulnerable, 5 wounds. He's a pretty killy character. But if he leads someone, he gives them devastating wounds. And if he kills a character, you can gain a CP. That's his whole point. So that's again really cool unit. Another unit that got a huge glow up though, and I don't own the model. So one kind of demon model I don't own is the Rendmaster on a Blood Throne. He is insane.
His name is Rendmaster?
Yeah, he's the Rendmaster.
That's a terrible name. Yeah, it is. That's a stupid name, and I don't like
it. But look at his Blood Throne ability, though. Blood Throne, at the start of the fight phase, you select an enemy unit within 18 inches, visible to the model. Until the end of that phase, any time a friendly Khorne Legion demonic unit makes a target attack against that unit,
what did I say about that
increase, you improve the strength, armor pen, and damage by 1. So if you look at Bloodletters, which are page 21, that means they go strength 5 AP 2 damage 2 to strength 6 AP 3 damage 3. And
Gross.
if they're led by Skulltaker, they get deadly wounds. So they roll a 6 on the wound, that's 3 mortal wounds. Yeah. Bloodletters actually work now. I'm so happy. Now they're 5 up invulnerable with 1 wound. So they will crumple like toughness 4, 5 up invulnerable, 1 wound. They will crumple. But if they get into combat, they're gonna hurt.
There's nothing wrong with something crumple. Like they're still a battle line unit. They're like regular guys. They should
I know.
be able
This
to
is
be destroyed.
But I like that. Yeah, no, they're very weak. They're very glass cannon, and I love it. But those are kind of like my units. The Bloodthirsters, of course, are Bloodthirsters. Scarbrand, although I will point out 2 things about the Scarbrand and the Bloodthirster. First of all, Scarbrand actually is Scarbrand now. So one thing I hated back in 9th edition was that when Scarbrand got wounded, his attacks went up, but his hit value went down. So by the time he was the lowest bracket, he was hitting you on 4s, but had like 4 extra attacks. So statistically, mathematically, it did absolutely nothing. You could just spike more attacks if you could. Now, he hits you at all times on a 2-up. And when he's got 1 to 7 wounds yet left, he just gets 2 extra attacks. He gets angrier. Perfect. Just literally. Mwah.
They feel fitting for what they are.
Yeah.
What they should be.
And the Bloodthirster I'm most excited about. So the big problem with the Bloodthirster, again, was the last edition, he went 2-up, 3-up, 4-up, right? When he got bracketed. Now, he hits on a 2, and when he has 1 to 6 wounds, he hits on 3s, right? But if you read his Demon Lord of Khorne aura, while the friendly Khorne Legion demonic unit is within 6 inches of this model, add 1 to the hit roll. So essentially, he is always hitting on 2s. Unless you have a minus as well, by the way. Then he's hitting on 3s.
Yeah, I mean that's always the thing. There's always a chance.
But he's always hitting on 2s and 3s. Never hitting on 4s. Because remember, you can't stack minuses.
No.
So that's, to me, excellent. Man, I might just maybe I should have painted demons instead. We have time left on this podcast. I'll break out the demons because now I'm just waiting for the null oil to. I'm waiting for the null oil to dry, which is the longest part of painting Custodes. Move these guys over here. Yeah, but overall, like they made corn feel like corn. And honestly, just thank God. Honestly, at this point, corn has had a rough time. Um, Even the dogs are good for Christ's sake. Now it depends on points. Depends on points for the dogs. Because blood crushers are pretty cool. Blood crushers are excellent, by the way. They gave last edition, Dave. Blood
Yep.
crushers. They're on page 23, by the way.
Okay.
Last edition
I was trying to write that
for
back
for
up.
two CP. Are you ready for this? For
No.
two CP, if they made a charge, you roll a dice. On a 4-up, they did D3 wounds for two CP.
Well, that's. But remember, last edition you also got a lot more CP. That was the thing.
No, but that no, well that was it. It was just now. Each time the unit ends a charge move, select one enemy within engaging range. For each model in this unit, the Blood Crusher unit, 4+ is D3 mortal wounds. It's just baked in. So if I have a 5 model Blood Crusher unit, I get to roll 5 dice on a 4-up. It's D3 mortal wounds. Perfect, easy, done.
I mean, for a lot of spots, they baked in things that you might have used
Yep.
to spend something on before because they need to do something like that. Because,
Yeah.
like you said, they're giving you less in general. You have no
Flesh
CP,
hounds.
so
Flesh Hounds are great. They still retain their Flamer Breath, which is hilarious. For 0 CP, they can do a heroic intervention, which is hilarious. They pounce on you. They go bark. They go bark bark. Um, Skull Cannon. Skull
you don't have
Cannon's
to go through
interesting.
every unit because we're going to do that later.
I
once we
know.
see
I
the
know. I'm
stuff.
only doing the Corrin anyway because that's all I care about. Skull Cannon's
All right.
interesting. This will be the last one because I'm not
Okay.
going to talk about the terrain piece because the terrain piece is stupid unless it's free. unless it's free, then okay. Skull Cannon's weird because I thought the Skull Cannon would be like our anti-tank. It's I don't know how to place it. So it's on page 27. Is D6 plus 2, threes to hit, strength 9, AP 1, 2 damage each. It's just like
That
a
sounds
solid, yeah, it's just like a solid gun. It's not anti-tank.
Well, that's
It's
the
like
problem. So Strength 9 is nice. It'll blast as well. So let's keep in mind it is blast.
Oh,
That is
that's right. I didn't even notice the blast.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
yes.
and blast now for what? It's one extra hit for or one extra shot
Yes,
for every
it's
5 models.
one extra shot for every 5. Yep.
So to me, that is a heavier infantry gun. It's not vehicle because Strength 9 is not going to hurt vehicles well because a lot of the vehicles are 10s, 11, 12s. But you are doing well against mid to heavier infantry, and with blast, that's how you get the extra shot. So to me, that's what that
Yeah.
gun's designed to do. And two,
Oh, God,
and
let
2
me-
damage as well. That's more for mid.
Let me catch up on comments. Give me a second. Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, Gravic Corrosion Beamer could have been straight replacements for Quake and Volcano, and thankfully they weren't. Yeah, they weren't. They're their own thing. Contrast is good for faces and texture and stuff. Yep, my entire Corn army is straight contrast. And so were my ogres. That was my first army that I contrasted. That was the whole point of them. They were supposed to be that test army for contrast. And then I got better with contrast, and that's why my demons look so good. Big Daddy Satan. I can't wait to put them on the. I hope Archdemons didn't disappear from Heresy. That would make me super, super goddamn sad. Reminds me of Heresy Miniature Demon Lord. Yeah. If I do a second army, it'll be demons, just so I can play as many systems as possible. Yep, Molly. That's why I play demons.
Yeah. If,
I literally
when
play
you, when
demons.
you read out comments, read them out so everyone hears them.
Oh yeah.
You kind of reading through them fast, kind of like almost whispering them.
Apologies. So yeah, Molly says I want to play demons. So I can play as many systems as possible. Absolutely. That's why I started demons. Sigmar, Heresy, and 40k. Absolutely,
He just fell into the
1000%.
Paint water, so he's gonna have to hang out over there. I haven't
That's a
started
future
painting
problem,
it, but it just fell into the paint water, so it's gonna wait a while.
That's a future problem. Too many Okay, so Molly, I hate to do this to you. You say it's a future problem, but did he just fall in the paint water again? Oh no. Oh, that's right. The video's 20 seconds
Yes.
earlier. Oh, that's so
If
funny.
only once, shame on me.
Yeah. So
Shame on you.
you say it's a future problem. I would suggest, if you want, look at Facebook Marketplace. For some odd reason, people will sell entire lots of demons on Facebook Marketplace for exceptionally cheap.
People
I got
put just stuff in general for cheap.
well, true, but I got 120 bloodletters for I think it was $80. Now, mind you, I also then had to paint 120 bloodletters, which was it was a task on and of itself. But no, I would suggest just browse eBay and Facebook Marketplace, Molly, because for some odd reason people get rid of demons all the time, and I would do it now because people don't realize how cool demons are. So just like there's see Bradley Dunn. God, I need to get back to working on heavily possessed titans. Yeah, listen. I haven't painted in a while, so I ain't even gonna like laugh at you at this point. I'm waiting on 3D printed bits for my Magna. I'm assuming that's a Titan. Every corruption model on have a Moriak's leg en route for pre-natural grace, chain blades for pertusion flamer, and nozzle. Oh, so you went full corruption. Straight
Yeah,
nice.
sounds it.
Straight nice. Someone did that in Toy Wiz. Crap,
I
I
wasn't
can't
there for
remember
that,
his.
so I do not know who.
Oh my god, he basically corned out his Titans with blood pools and everything. Oh man, I really wish I remember who it was. They look amazing, but he rusted them all up. They have like corn mouths on them. He used the brute, the demon brute. I can't remember what it's
Okay.
called as a head. Hellbrute as a head. It was really great. Absolutely, Facebook Marketplace is a great deal, especially rescues. Yep, I'm telling you, if I know you don't want to start another project, but I scalped my entire demon army. It's 120 blood letters, 15. I got 15 blood crushers. The guy sold it for me for like $60. $60 for 15 blood crushers. And again, I had to
My,
paint them, but
my biggest thing with that is I don't like pre-painted models because I'm
no, they
always
weren't
thinking on the
pre-painted.
scheme. No, I know they
Then
weren't, but that is the one thing.
yeah,
Sometimes it can be tough
very
to find
true.
things that aren't
Oh,
painted.
Alex. Bradley Dunn says it's Alex. Yeah. So I'm glad someone here knows what I'm talking about. Alex created this entire Titanic army that's corn. Corn looks like corn, has corn blood pools on the bottom. They're rusted. He has actual chains on them. They are gorgeous beyond a reasonable doubt. Um, but yeah, no. Okay, I caught up on all the comments. I think. Let me
Okay.
see here. Yes.
Demon Hunter. I mean, it's all of these factions going to boil down to once we see some points and do they do any changes? Because who knows? But
Very true. What about
overall,
you, Dave? Go to your Necrons before I go
yeah.
to Custodians.
Yeah. Let me finish with this red. Let me just wash this brush and then I'll pull them over there. While I let the other guy who fell in the paint water dry. I know I opened them on one of these pages already. I've opened them right there. All right, let me turn the display back. I'll only say if anyone's watching this either now or on YouTube at all, I'm gonna display them as well. It won't be a perfect display for everything because I'm not gonna sit here and resize all these windows and cause myself all those issues.
Real
But we'll at
quick,
least be showing it a bit.
Molly's got two 2K Titan projects,
Turn
a
this.
100 man Blood Ravens, and Ashen Claws. You know what
Fun
I
stuff.
don't hear though, Molly? I don't hear that you have demons on that list.
I
And
don't. I no, I don't hear
there's an
conquest. That's my problem.
oh God, the
All right,
breathing.
so Necrons. Overall, I think it is pretty positive. I think, honestly, for most of the factions are pretty positive. Not all of them, and some of
And
them we kind
Space
of wait and
Wolves.
see. And Space Wolves, yes. But we also still have to see points for certain things. But Necrons on overall, honestly, I'm reasonably happy with. I was more happy once I listened to some people who know it a little more than I do. Then I found I was a little happier with all of it. But so we have reanimation protocols. It is different now. The way reanimation works now is at the and there's contention in this. I don't think there's really contention, but at the end of your command phase, which the back and forth is, do you battle shock first or after? Battle shock is battle shock is not its own phase, so I absolutely think you battle shock and then you do this because this is an end of effect. But
Yeah,
um,
Battle Shock doesn't
so
say end.
so people yeah, but the thing is like I'd have to look for what the argument is, but some of the argument is battle shock the end because it is what you do at the end. It's the last thing you do, but is it actually an end?
Uh,
The thing is, I don't find that too gamey for people. I think it needs a clarification just to be sure it does like since battle shock is not its own phase, it's not its own piece like it is in Sigmar. Them just saying like battle shock is just during the phase that will clear everything because then
so here's a question:
yes.
does it affect anything, like positive, negatively?
Um,
Do you not get reanimation if you're battle shocked?
No, there's nothing that would stop you from doing it. I think some of the discussion was for whether. Oh, actually, there is one spot where it matters.
Okay.
If you're a Necron warrior, if you are not battle shocked, so if you're holding an objective, remember, if you're battle shocked, you count as control 0, so you're not holding it yourself. But if warriors have an objective, they get more reanimation. That's why.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so it does make sense.
I
Okay.
think it is literally the very last thing, but I would love GW to just step forward and say, like, yeah, battle shock is during the phase. So before happens before battle shock, after happens after. But essentially, you for every single unit, you roll D3. That's how many wounds you get back. If you start with recovering wounds on a model, and then if all of your models are full of wounds and you still have reanimation left, then you start bringing models back. This is a side grade, downgrade. It's up. It's a little better potentially when you look at some of the other rules we have. But as a rule itself, it is an absolute downgrade. And the reason it's essentially a downgrade in most cases is if your opponent wants to make sure that you can't reanimate something, if they kill it, you don't get it. Old reanimation used to be after the attack was done, which means if you're going to shoot at me with 3 different units, I can try and reanimate bodies 3 different times. This rule is maybe a little better for multi-wound, because multi-wound, when you reanimated, you had to bring the whole model back, which means if you were like a 3-wound model, if you don't get at least 3 5-ups on however many dice you get nothing. But if, like, say, warriors, you don't want my warriors back, just kill them. Destroy them. You have guns. If that's a concern, take them down. Now, we have some ways to improve this, and there's ways that make it a little better and all, but the base rule, they've done this in the past, and it was bad. We have to wait and see exactly how this does. Our detachment abilities, command protocols. If a Necron character is leading a unit, they get +1 on hit rolls whenever they attack. Sounds amazing. The sort of thing to keep in mind is the units that can be led. Skorpekh Lords can lead Skorpekh Destroyers. All of your other characters essentially either lead Warriors, Immortals, or Lich-Guard. It's not like you can lead just like whatever you want. Oh, and also like Locust Lords can lead some Locust Heavy Destroyers or Locust Destroyers or stuff like that. But not everything can lead everything. So when you look at some of our stratagems, I'm not going to go through them all now, but every stratagem we have says you get an effect, and if you're being led, you get more. It's particular what can be led and who can lead what. So if you're an overlord and it says, hey, overlords, you get to do blank to the unit you lead, you can't just do it to any unit. You're kind of restricted with what you can lead. So it is good, but you got to kind of look at that and kind of couch it in that mindset when you're doing it. Like just an example, one of them, Eternal Guardian, we no longer have to roll the die for it. Eternal Guardian is, I lost a character, spend a CP, get him back. And you get half your wounds. It used to be you needed to roll like a 4-up, and then I think you got like D3 wounds. Now you just get half your wounds back. But a lot of the other ones relate to the units. Like one of them, you get
Oh, but it is once
strength.
per battle. Oh, thank God.
Yes.
Okay.
Once per battle per model. Yes.
Yeah, per model, but yeah.
Yes. That was always true, though. But it used to be 1 CP and you had to roll for it. It was like a 50-50 chance. So,
nice.
if you look like, say, Hungry Void, you get +1 strength, but if you're being led, +1 AP as well.
That's cool. I like that a lot.
If you're led, that's great, but you can't lead everything, and you might not be able to lead the ones you want. So it's just something to keep in mind. Enhancements. The enhancements look good. We have to see points cost. I'm not going to go through them until we see points because, yeah, they're all nice. Sovereign Coronal is amazing, but we have to see how much it costs. If it costs tons and tons and tons,
What
then
is it?
not quite so much. You count as being led by within 6 inches of that model.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
so you
the
can lead
big
a
thing.
unit. That's great. Okay.
Yes. So stuff like that, if it's a reasonable points cost, is how now you can get extra bonuses. Since our command trait is being led gets you stuff, there's a way to get stuff. So I'm very interested to see that.
I'm not gonna lie, Sempiternal Weave is great too.
All of them are really good. My biggest problem with a lot of those not relics is we don't know costs. So are they going to be like prohibitive? Special name characters are not going to bother going through. There's so many of them. Some of them are really good. Some of them are kind of garbage.
Hold on,
but
really
that's
quick
fine.
though. I will mention that
Yeah,
you can take what's his face, Oricon with the Steeler dude. Uh,
Trajan.
yeah, Trazen. Yeah,
Yes.
that is hilarious to me. You could take them because for those who don't know the fluff, they absolutely 1000% hate each other
Yeah,
with
it's
an
grumpy old
undying
men
passion.
over 100,000
I
years.
think they in the middle of court they stuck the middle finger at each other
Yes.
as well. Yeah, no, they hate each other. So I just find it really funny that they can
Yeah.
actually be
There.
next to each other.
I forget which book, but there's one of the books. They have several Necron books. I want to read them because I've heard they're very good. But they're in one of the books. I know one of the lines in there because it's posted everywhere. It's like, oh, I hope you brought armies. Like, oh, you think so little of me? I brought five. Because you can just pop it out like a tesseract and stuff like that. So
Trazen literally carries Pokeballs with him, which
yes,
just to me is so goddamn hilarious.
yeah. Um, for
Anyway,
other characters, I said, Warden Scorpeg Lord. I like because he was garbage in the other edition. He absolutely was a terrible, terrible piece of garbage. He's a lot better now. Also, he can lead a unit of Scorpeg destroyers, which really helps them out. His attacks, aren't amazing, but he gives lethal hits. I always
that's
forget
nice.
which one is which though. Lethal hits
So,
is sixes just automatically wound,
six
right?
is automatically wound. Yes.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
You skip the
So,
wound phase.
oh, it's cutting it off a little bit. Let me extend. Oh, there we go. My apologies, cutting that off a little bit. Let me go like this, or let me
But yeah,
shrink this one.
six is from auto wound essentially.
Yeah. This thing's gonna be a little cut off, but that's okay. There we go. That's a little better. Other ones I talk Locust Lords going into Locust unit. If you can put them in a unit, those things are pretty good. Reanimation orbs got really, really good. Reanimation orb now, if you happen to have an orb, we don't know how much it's going to cost, but if you have an orb, you reanimation protocols in both command phases, yours and your opponent's.
Holy shit.
Now again, though, it's good, but if you really want to destroy my unit and you can, it doesn't help. What this helps with is if your opponent gets turn one, or if you get turn one, okay, you're fine. They do some shooting into you. Or sorry, no, probably actually better if they get turn one first. They shoot you down a little bit. On your turn, reanimate a few. You do your stuff. Then when they start, reanimate the rest. Probably better for your shooting units in your close combat in that sort of case. But we have tons and tons of characters. Command Barge got really good with its aura. So it can help out. It gives more objective control. I think this army wins by holding
So
objectives. I don't think it wins by killing.
here's my problem with the command barge. It's the same
Yes.
problem I had with the corn dude on the throne.
Yeah.
You can't join him with a unit,
No.
and he doesn't have uh solitary warrior or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So he can just get shot. Now he's toughness what 9, toughness 8, 4 plus invulnerable save, 9 wounds, not bad, but it depends on points. But that's one of my problems with these kind of big throne like pieces is that they can just get shot up
Agreed.
if someone wanted to dedicate shooting to them.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
just me.
Overlords, tons of characters. Obviously, our Cryptex can go in units when they have other things leading them as well. Um, Royal Wardens or Nobles, that makes sense. Cryptex in general, they're different. Some are absolutely better. Some necessarily aren't better. But overall, they got some pretty cool abilities. We'll do a deeper dive later. I said just trying to go very quickly through some basic ideas. Warriors, if they're like I said, they bring back D6 instead of D3, and if they're on objective, it's D3 plus 3, so you get more of a guarantee. Both their weapons get lethal hits, stuff like that, which I think is really good. Immortals got pretty big glow up because remember, if you're being led +1, so you're going to be hitting on 2s. Implacable Eradication, you get to reroll wound rolls of 1, and you can just reroll entirely if the enemy's on an objective. So I think for a troops choice, they're quite good. The Reanimator is amazing now because it's a bubble. You just get an extra D3 when
I
you
heard
reanimate.
the reanimator. Yeah, I was gonna say I heard the reanimator is amazing.
Yes. What's nice is one has Feel No Pain. And two, it no longer needs line of sight. It's just an aura. The way auras work, you can just be
And
out. You
12
can
inches
hide.
is
Yes.
12 inches is a fucking big
Yeah.
aura.
So it's an additional D3. So you're actually now. Our rule wasn't good, but now there's ways to make it worthwhile. Although there's still always that concern of get wiped off the board. Doesn't matter. Hexmark Destroyer is really good now. He's 6 attacks, damage 1, AP 2, strength 6. He hits on 2s. Few nice things about him. One, he's lone operative, so if he's far away, he can't be shot. Inescapable death. Once per turn, you can fire Overwatch with him for 0 CP, and just always, when he fires Overwatch, he hits on 2s. So if you have 2 of these guys, one can use it for free, one spends a point, and they both get the fire. Also, multi-threat eliminator. Each time an enemy unit targets a friendly Necron unit that's within 3 inches of this model with a ranged attack, at the enemy unit shot, this model can shoot as if it was your shooting phase.
Oh, that's great.
There's a really big thing to notice there. Did you notice it? It doesn't say you shoot at who shot them.
Oh.
You shoot as if it was your shooting phase. Now, they might change it to say he has to target that unit, but it doesn't say that right now. Which means you shoot at this unit with something, I go and fire at this other lighter, juicier target. His attacks aren't exceedingly damaging if you're heavy, but if it's something lighter and you can attack every time you want to shoot, and that's not limited, every time you target something within 3. So if you have 1 or 2 of these guys and you got a couple units around, you got some big warrior blobs, they fire at those blobs at all, you just start firing out 18 inches onto these guys. And his shots do have precision. So he's fun. Lichguard can be led. They're pretty good. Deathmark's got really good. Flayed One's got the bat taken to him. The Twin Lance, which is nice. Sustained hits 1, which is nice, but they can only come in squads of 10, up to 10. This is that idea of if you want it to destroy it, so I can't bring it back, you can do that on this unit. We don't know points. We'll have to see points, but I have some concerns about bringing like a 10-man group, and like maybe they'll do some good, but they get kind of hit down. They do get critical hits if you're below half strength, though. Every hit's a critical hit. So they can be good, but little hit and miss. Only other thing I'll mention is Satans, just to keep it nice and brief. Satans have all damage coming into them. No wound cap anymore, but that's not a thing in the game. Nightbringer is quite good, because the Nightbringer, he can do some mortals with his ability. You lost all your other abilities with that. But his attacks, he's still a pretty big damage dealer. So, much like he was before, an AP -4, they're essentially on invuls. He doesn't ignore invuls anymore, though, unfortunately. He used to be amazing because you got nothing versus him.
I will also say that with the damage reduction across the board for this edition, halving damage is major.
Yes, it should be very big. It's still a wait and see because they said a lot less damage. I don't know yet. I don't know if I entirely agree that it's a lot less
unless
damage.
You're Eldar. Unless you're Eldar.
But I do feel overall it's less damage. And we got some other stuff, and it's all fine. What I will say, problems I've seen so far, I think they feel like they can hold objectives good. I do think you want some warrior blocks. I do think you want a reanimator for sure. I'm thinking Hexmark Destroyers. I need to see points, obviously, for all this stuff. I think vehicles, you have to be cautious with what you bring to actually take down vehicles to make sure that you can actually do it. And the big thing is going to be whether or not a reanimation is actually any good. In 8th edition, we had that rule without these extras, and it's garbage. Now we have it with these extras. Is it going to be enough? If this edition is lower on lethality, like they said, then I think it will be good. If not, we'll have to wait and see. But overall, I'm excited about it. I'm going to make a list tomorrow once we see points. I'm hoping that points are in such a way I have enough. I don't have tons of my guys painted up, but you can't see it now if you're watching. But over in this corner, further over there, I have a box full of Necron stuff. Although, I no longer need any more Flayed Ones, because I already had 30, and I have 5 I haven't worked on yet, because it used to be squads of 20. Remember when they did the Warhammer magazine? I found them in Barnes & Noble. I bought every one of them I could find in Barnes & Noble, so I got almost 30 of them from that. I bought like 6 magazines, because they were like I got 30 of them for like the price of 5. So I was like, all right, I'm going to buy every single one they have.
Yep.
But I'm excited to see. I do need some other things. I have more Lich Guard I have to paint up. I have some Doomsday Arcs. I do have a Command Barge, so I want to paint up that stuff and then see how it feels. All right. Do you briefly want to run us through, say,
Yeah, I'll
Custodes?
do it
That's your other
briefly.
big thing. So why don't you briefly?
Well, I'll
take
do
us through
Eldar
Custodes?
first. Eldar
All
are
right.
amazing.
Just yeah.
Don't big friends. Um, Custodes. Custodes are great. Oh my god, thank Jesus. I'm so happy for this. So
All right.
Custodes, their karate stance has changed. So
Nice.
now it's basically before it was we were talking about this before the podcast started. If you were probably here early, you probably heard us talking about it. Before it was like you had six karate stances, each having two stances. You chose the or it was a mess. Now you have three
Yep.
stances, period. They change every fight phase. If you want, they could stay the same if you want. But you can change them every fight phase, including your opponents at the start of the fight phase. And they're very easy. You can subtract one from a hit roll. You can be sustained hits one. You can gain lethal hits.
Yeah.
Easy.
All of those are good, and all of those fit in different reasons. Lethal hits is great if you're going against something heavy that you might not be getting
Yep.
through.
Which was Rendex.
Yeah.
That Katara is the one where you're trying to basically beat off the swarms. So that's
Mm-hmm.
sustained hits. And Kaptaris was literally, I'm going to hold you, -1 a hit. So literally, easy, done. Age to the Emperor, our special rule, 4+ to save against mortal wounds. Easy, done, over with. Stratagems, they're all great. Honestly, they're all amazing. Um, Big shout out to Arcane Genetic Alchemy, which is subtract one from the damage characteristic, which is massive for us. Um, and then there's one more I wanted to shout out. I think it was, yeah, Vigil Unending. I love this. It's Necrons. You can just return one destroyed model.
Yeah.
It's yay. Now you can't do it more than once per battle on the same unit, but if you want to
Well, no,
pick
but
up
that's
a
needed because otherwise that would
yeah,
just be too crazy. Yeah.
but yeah, and Alaris popping back up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And sticky objectives. This is the big one. Sworn Guardians. You do
Yeah.
this in the movement phase. That's most other people that have it do it in the command phase. We do it in the movement phase, meaning I can move on to the
Yeah.
objective and then sticky it, which is spicy.
Highlight us a few units. Skip over the enhancements for now because we don't know points. Like they could be good, but if
True,
they make them
but I
super
will point out
expensive, they'll be
one
garbage.
Veiled the Ceaseless Hunter. Ew, disgusting. Basically, you can give the unit fall back in charge, which is Jesus. All right, big units, big glow ups. There's not actually a lot, which is funny because here's
fine.
fun fact that for people who don't know, a majority of the custodians are actually in Forge World. There are, I think, 12 units that are plastic and 15 units that are Forge World. So, yay. Anyway, Custodian Guard, they're guard. They're not, they're going to go. Custodian, here, let's go to Wardens. Wardens are actually now Wardens. Um, Melee weapons, who cares? They're toughness 6. So everyone went up to toughness 6, by the way, in the Custodians is at toughness 5. 3 wounds. We're looking at a 4 up invulnerable save, OC2. The big thing with them is when a character's in this unit, anything that is greater than their toughness, you subtract 1 from the wound roll. So you will never wound them better than a 4+.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and once per battle, you can just pop a 4+ feel no pain ability.
Yeah, that's the late game you need to keep on your objective.
Yep. Or you want to mid game hold onto a mass. Someone charged you. You're not breaking this unit. Alaris Custodians got super beefy. Toughness 7 now, which is still saying 4 wounds. Big things with them is if they're attacking targets with a character, monster, or vehicle, they can reroll wounds. That's pretty great. And from Golden Light, this one is so stupid. So first of all, I want to point out, if someone says that they're not an opponent, and that wasn't me stuttering. If someone points out that they're not an opponent,
I'm not.
Slap them in the face. Stop that, Dave. Stop that.
If they can't master the language that to some extent they invented, that is not my problem.
Someone will goes, well, technically, there's no opponent, so this strategy doesn't shut
No
down.
one does
Don't do that.
that. There's literally no one who talks the way that
Someone
you
was
say
making that
people do.
argument.
They weren't making
Someone
the
was
argument. They were saying it to be facetious. They
mm,
weren't realistic being
so
like no.
once per battle, at the end of your opponent's turn, not your turn, if you're not within engagement range, you can remove it. And then in the next movement phase, which is coming up right
Yeah,
now,
they come back
deep
and
striker
reinforce it.
within
Yep.
9 inches. Yep. That's amazing. That is top tier right there. Top tier mobility. I should point out everyone has deep strike, by the way.
Yeah.
Every single R thing here has deep strike.
Virtus
Um,
Praetors don't.
except the bikes. I was saying,
Yeah.
except the bikes, which I'm not gonna talk about because they got
Hey, I used to play Blood Angels and we used to deep strike a Land Raider, so anything is possible.
they got nerfed. Um, I got to see the points on these before I make a final decision. They got hit hard by the nerf bat.
But if
But-
the points are appropriate, that's fine.
Exactly. And if they're led by a shield captain that can let them fall back and charge, you know,
Yeah.
then we're talking again big money. But I'm gonna ignore the sisters.
Yeah, skip the sisters. Yeah.
I
like
will.
said, we're-
No, but pause. I
No,
won't.
skip
I
'em.
won't. No, there's one reason. Sword sisters are insanely scary. I don't know. They're insane. I got to see the points
Vigilators?
on them. Vigilators.
Yeah.
They are deadly. So first of all, strength 5, AP minus 2 damage. Okay, that's cool, right? 2 attacks. Subtract 1 from the hit roll when you're attacking them. When we get to special characters, Alea makes them so stupid strong, it's not even funny. So just remember that profile. Which seekers skip? Shield captains. So shield captains are pretty cool. The big thing is that they make something 0 CP, which is really, really, really good. The special characters don't do this, by the way. It's only the general shield captains that do this. So it's kind of cool that you want to take some shield captains instead of taking named characters. Also, so each one has this is really cool. So all of them have strategic mastery. Each one of the styles, though, has different kind of abilities. So for example, the guy on foot, he can choose to be 2 karate stances. That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
So you can get lethal hits and sustained hits, which does double up. The Blade Champion is amazing. Hands down, my favorite model. Biggest glow up, period. This man, when he's in a unit, can reroll advance and charge and can declare charge when he advances with his unit. And he can do heroic intervention for 0 CP. And he's got pretty damn cool weapons. In my opinion, coolest model in the Codex. He looks amazing. He is amazing. This is, by the way, Henry Cavill. If you never saw him without he's supposed to be the Witcher.
All right.
If you look at it without the helmet, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
Alea. Here we go, Dave.
Okay.
So Alea, strength 6, AP 3 damage sword with
Right.
4 attacks, right? And
Yeah,
devastating
that's
wounds. Because why not, right? Feel no pain for some odd reason. Scout 6 inches.
Okay.
So if you put her Vigilators in a Rhino, that Rhino will scout. On top of that, her model and her have fights first,
Okay.
meaning they will fight first. On top of that, if she's leading the unit and they make an attack, they now hit on 2s, right?
Yeah.
And they pretty much will wound on 2s or 3s, depending on whether it's below half strength. And she has a 3+ invulnerable, 3+ thing against psychic attacks.
Yeah.
She makes Vigilators, and I don't own a goddamn Rhino.
You're gonna have to get a Rhino.
I'm gonna have to. I need a Demos Rhino. I don't want a normal one. I want a Demos. I asked Richard to order one. I think he has one in the store though.
I don't know. For a while they were hard to get. I'm not sure if he has one now.
He ordered
But for a
Land
while, they're
Raiders
hard
for
to get.
me. I do want Land Raiders as well, but yeah, no, this is. I'm
Yeah.
definitely sticking her 10 sisters inside a Rhino and just laughing.
I think it's character stuff left.
Yeah, the
Anything else to
Rhino
highlight
holds,
quickly as I'm scrolling through? I'm at the like shield captains and people like that.
Yeah, Shield Captain, Knights in Terminus. The Alair Shield Captain, who cares? Bike Shield Captain, who cares? Trajan was already previewed, so I'm going to skip. Oh, the last
Yeah.
glow up. Last glow up, my friend. The Valerian.
Valerian.
So Valerian, Christopher Walken. So
Yeah, it
He
really
never-
does. It really does
Yeah.
look like him.
all of them have nicknames. So Christopher Walken was never used in the last edition because he sucked really, really bad. Now he's got Feel No Pain 6 up, which is cool. That's completely new. Now him and his unit get worsen the armor penetration by 1, which
It's
wow.
big when you're on a 2-up save.
Yep, it's huge. And once per battle round, he basically rerolls one hit, one wound roll, and one saving throw for the model.
Yeah, he gets to choose one of those three to do.
And once per battle, after making a hit roll, wound roll, saving roll, he could just change the result to a 6. Once per battle, though. Did you see the Contemptors, by the way, or no?
Yes, I did look at Contemptors. I looked at
Do
since
they
I'm going to buy.
do they
some
all have
Space Marines.
Unyielding Ancient? Do the Space Marine ones have Unyielding Ancient or no?
Is that the one that brings them back to life?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay,
Yes,
I thought
they
that was
do.
special. And the Land
Now,
Raider is a Land Raider now, so
yeah, the Unyielding
yeah,
Ancient is great. For anyone who hasn't looked at
yeah.
it, when you kill the Contemptor, don't blow up the first time. Roll a die on a 2-up, come back with D6 wounds.
Yep.
It's going to be good until you roll that 1, and
Yes.
then you get nothing back. But, and again, we don't know points. So
Exactly.
what's going to happen? Probably part of next week. We want to get back to some 30K because hopefully Steven has his potato figured out and he's back to normal work schedule and all. But I do want to start going through factions for this. I don't know if we're probably not going to do deep dive the same way we do 30K because I think that just might be might take a while, especially for some of these ones. But going through a little bit more, really talking about them, especially once we see points, because it gives us a more full picture. Someone was saying, I saw, because I pulled it up on my phone, that those magazines never made it up north.
Yeah, I was gonna
I,
say he just
I
say
only ever found the Necron one, and then to test paint schemes, I picked up one of Assault Intercessors. So I do have 5 Assault Intercessors with various paint schemes on them if I look around my house. I can see one here that I was using. I was painting up.
maybe you guys would have more trees if you stopped lighting them on fire.
So like, I got a random one here because I was testing with them. So,
Stop burning your trees, and you get more paper for your magazines.
nature's kind of technically doing it itself. They're not
Yeah,
like
that's
lighting the
true.
fires. Mostly,
Yeah, it was.
they might
Did you
be.
see really cool and for Molly, who's the Canadian here? Did you see like the satellite map of all the fires starting at the same time? How creepy that was. No, you're looking at me like I'm crazy.
You might be.
No, there was a really cool satellite image of showing like where the fire started, and it like literally, they like literally started all at the same time. It was the coolest thing to watch, and also fucking terrifying because then you realize that the area of land that the satellite is looking at is like the size of the entire eastern continental United States, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh no, that's not good.
Yeah. It's, I mean, it's bad. Luckily, it seems to be in a better position mostly
Yeah.
now, although that's always up in the air exactly what's going to happen. So,
Ah, I see
what?
what you did there.
Was it
Up
me
in the
or
air.
someone else? What are you talking
No,
about?
up in the air.
Oh,
Get
no,
it?
I didn't even mean it that way. That was entirely unintentional. I wish I could say I meant to do that, but no, I did not
I'm a
mean to do
few
that.
hours south of the huge one in Western Canada. Listen, be safe then. I heard like I thankfully we live in New Jersey, so we don't have any problems with forest fires and stuff. But I've seen, heard, and just I've had people in California how quickly forest fires like spread and how quickly got it just oh you're burning at both ends. Oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Although I mean maybe the good news would be like maybe the smoke doesn't hit you then. Because if you're burning at both ends, right, and the smoke is blowing south, would that mean that you get none of the smoke? Or does that mean you get all of the smoke
It depends on the direction. If it's on
of
both
the
sides,
wind?
there is
Yeah, I'm gonna wait
two
for Molly to
directions
answer
where you
here.
get nothing, and one direction where you, or two directions where you get one. It should be tough depending on the orientation to get both sides.
Because he's south. So if the wind blows like I'll do my hands like this. If the wind blows like this, then he's hitting both. But if the wind's blowing like this, maybe. Oh, it's like Mordor here. Oh, okay. Oh God.
Wait, what does that mean?
Mordor from Lord of the Rings?
I know what Mordor is, but
Oh.
just because it's smoky and terrible.
Yeah,
Okay.
and terrible.
Like that Golem game. I didn't play that.
My God, my asthma would not survive. This is like the like
No.
this. Oh my God.
Well, I went to see you on Saturday, and like you were nebulizing then, like you were not in good shape, and that
Bro,
was.
I'm glad
a
you didn't
full,
know.
like,
Okay, so
4
I was
days
slightly
after.
embarrassed when you came in, and I'm glad you didn't notice. But I'll say it now. You didn't notice the mucus that I had literally coming out of my eyes. My eyes were glued shut.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, my eyes were literally glued shut from the amount of just sinus pressure that was building up in my head.
That is awful.
Bro, I can't hear. I literally I can feel the pressure behind my ears. That's how bad it is.
It seems like there should be something more they can do for you for all that.
The problem is my sinuses suck. I've been taking Sudafed every day and I take Claritin. And what I do is I hope and pray that it just opens up and pops one day. That's all it needs to do. Because the sinuses are clearing up. This is clearing up. My nose is clearing up. My throat is clearing up. I cough every now and then, but I'm fine. But the ears are their own pressure system.
No, that's very true.
Yeah.
Um, I will say, I mean, overall, I'm excited for the new edition. I'm always excited for Index 40K. I'm hoping to stay excited as it goes along. Like I always said, I like everything about 40K except often in the past the game itself. And my hope is that this time the game is a lot better. I would like it to be a lot better. I like it to feel where I can play this game and be happy with it because like it is exceedingly popular and everything like that. So, and we'll wait and see. In the meantime, plenty of Shatterpoint to work on, plenty of other stuff. Got plenty of conquest that I'm doing. Um, all right. Do you have any other? Oh man, I just remembered. I didn't actually make any uh, spots of where we've said what. So this episode might not get timestamps because I don't really want to go back and fix it. 'Cause
No,
I'd like to
no,
get
we
this
don't.
released tomorrow. I'll do that next time. Next time we do
Feel
this.
better. Man, it's okay. Like I said, Molly, listen, I'll be honest with you. I have not felt this bad since I was like, I have not had the nebulizer since I want to say I was 16. Oh, no, no, that's a lie. It happened like 2 years ago. I had to go to the hospital for the nebulizer 2 or 3 years ago.
I see. I thought I did remember something like that happened.
But it wasn't COVID either. That was just normal. I don't know what happened. That must have just been a really bad sinus event. But point is, it's been like besides that one random event, I haven't had to nebulize in a very long time. This just the moment I saw outside, it turned orange and yellow, and I smelled it, and I knew teachers were opening windows because they didn't think it was such a bad deal. I was like, well,
I guess I don't get to breathe for a while.
yep. I actually called the doctor that day, and he goes, "I'm surprised you took so long to call me." And I'm like, "The teachers are opening windows," and he goes, "What the
Yeah.
I live in a city in a mountain pass, so we get a lot of smoke from both. Oh yeah, because the mountain basically that sucks.
It's areas
That
you could never make it in.
yeah. And you know what sucks too? I've always wanted to move to Canada. Not just because honestly
Free
because of the
healthcare.
weather. Not even the healthcare, just because the weather's colder. And I love the cold.
Does your wife like the cold?
She's impartial to the cold.
I would say
She
'cause
doesn't
if she
like the
doesn't like
heat.
it, that ain't never gonna
She
happen. I'll
doesn't
tell you
like the
right now.
heat. I'll tell you that. We're both not Florida people. I'll tell you that much. But I love the cold. You know what I mean? So all joking aside, the smoke is awful. My partner and BFF are locked inside while the smoke is. Yep, that's what we did for 3 days. While it was literally orange outside, we locked ourselves inside, turned on our
I think
central air,
finally.
put an extra duty what you call it
Filter.
filter on the thing, and we're good.
Yep. We did the same thing. Yeah, we have a filter. We just ran it, and we kept the dog up with us, so that way,
Yep.
because I had to go outside because of him. I mean, I don't have breathing issues, so that was fine.
Well,
But
we went outside with masks. That's what we did.
I ordered masks, and instead they sent me. Can you hand me the thing they sent me? Tell me
Oh,
what.
this should be
It's
funny.
on it's on the far end of the table. For anyone watching, I'll explain what it is for anyone not watching, but I'll show what it is. So I ordered a bunch of masks, and what they sent me was these. So they are Dune Nourish silicone
Yes.
pouch bottle.
Yes. I know
So
what those are.
they sent me these. Actually, maybe Tori and Spencer want these. Can I return?
Actually, ask Tori and Spencer because it's actually really good.
Because
Those are
we
actually
have friends who are having a kid real soon.
those are the silicone ones, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The problem is, so I wanted to return it and be like, hey, give me my mask. But you can't return masks. So
Nope.
as soon as I put in for a return, it's like, no, you can't return that. They don't give me an option of saying you sent me the wrong thing. They're just like, no, you can't return
Was it off
anything.
Amazon? Was
Yeah,
it
it's off Amazon.
If you call customer service and send them a picture, they'll return it.
I'm sure, but I'm just like, you know what? I'll see if anyone wants it because I tried to get them in time for when the weather when it all got bad, and they just never arrived. So, all right, I think that'll do it for us tonight on what ended up being a rather long recording, but we did it this way. So, as always, we do want to thank everyone who either was watching along with us, especially that we do thank you, or if you're listening to this or watching on YouTube later, anything like that. Like I said, do apologize that the cameras don't actually
Although I will show this
adjust
off.
their
Hold on.
autofocus, but
See.
yeah, like there, it's just gonna be a little bit grainy. So I'm gonna look
No,
at
look,
getting
that's
some
that's
cameras
not
that
bad.
autofocus otherwise. No, but it would
There's
be
your
better on a different thing.
yeah.
That's okay.
That's your base. That's how I base coat the custodians, though. After this, dry brush silver, dry brush gold, contrast the cloak and the tabard, and then do the base and the nameplate, and we're done.
I got Dooku done. I got the basis for most of the stuff done, and I started working on the Magna Guards, which I'll work on those more once this is done and try to get all those guys done. But we do thank everyone who does watch this and anything like that. Remember, we put out all of this content on Podbean, so on any podcatchers too. We also put out stuff on YouTube. For things coming up soon, we should have at least one Conquest Battle Report. There's 2 others that were filmed. I just had to check since I didn't have the audio system at the time if I think its quality is good enough. The first one I think is fine. There's background noise, like it's not as much as I would like, but you can absolutely watch it and hear the players very clearly. Just hear some other people talking. But we do have a wireless system that we're going to test out. Hopefully we might be able to test it out, if not Saturday, early in the week. So other things coming out soon. There's going to be some more stuff for Shatterpoint. Once I get some more things assembled, I want to do a video just discussing it. We're also going to do some learn to play related to it, go through all of that game, and then some battle reports related to that. We're going to do some stuff for 40K as soon as we have it put together. We should hopefully be getting back to some 30K content. I would hope this week, at least one of our recordings, because we usually record twice a week, to do that. If more painting streams, especially if we can get decent looking cameras, if that is of interest, when we're doing more randomish episodes, I don't mind doing that. I think that's actually kind of nice. So maybe every other week might try to do something like that, so we can kind of get some more what you might call casual conversation sort of stuff. And if people have topic suggestions, especially for those, we'll absolutely take them, because I wouldn't want to do that for a deep dive because I've notes and everything like that I have to do. But for other topics, if people want to do something like that, that's fine.
Molly,
yes.
let's see here. Canada's pretty rad, and I have points of comparison as my godmother lives in Jersey. Oh yeah, listen, Jersey is Jersey.
I have no problems with Jersey. Never have.
No, nope. Jersey's
great. I won't hear anything else.
That was fun as fuck. Hang out, got some work done with y'all in good chats. Thanks, Molly, for hanging out with us. And those Magna Guard look tight. Magna Guard? Oh, those are the things you're painting.
Yes. Yeah.
Those Magna Guard look tight.
Starting with the red, I got quite a bit more to do on them, but I started with the red capes because I want to do something different. So I'm going with a wine red, and then I'll highlight from there. Oh, actually, I forgot. Dooku's not done because I do have to do his black lining. But I'm not going to do his black lining here because I want him right close to my face to do that. But my stuff, I always black line it. Although he's in a lot of dark, so I might actually do a little bit of white lining on him. I have to see. I don't have the inks for that, but I might use some other colors. But otherwise, he's pretty sad.
Stupid question.
Yes.
Are the feet actually off the base like that, or you just glued them on like shitty bases?
Oh, so these aren't the real bases. These are little tiny things.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
No, the actual bases are these. So this is the actual base, and I do comic on that. So I black line the base and do stuff like that. So no, they'll actually fit on this full
I was going to instantly, I was going to like say never again Shatterpoint.
No. You're going to play once we get those Ewoks.
Oh my God, please don't.
And I'm printing out their village now.
Oh my God, stop.
So they're going to be Ewoks. They're going to be a whole village. I've actually already printed a few bunkers. So there'll be bunkers on the end, and then the trees kind of go into the forest for the other side.
Molly says, I started my cooking career because of learning how to cook from Jersey Italians as a kid. There we go. Yep. That'll do it.
It's all in the hands.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right. So remember, we do have our Discord if anyone wants to join that. We have a Facebook page that Dan is supposed to be updating. I don't know if he actually is. I know he's not, but he's supposed to be. The other thing is people do enjoy the content we put out. We know we've been a little lax with it lately, but trying to get back into it. We do have Patreon as well. We ask anyone who has the means, if they like what we do, to just, consider it. Obviously, like I said, we're not going to ever put anything good behind that. We might put some stuff in there, but it's going to be weird, random stuff that I wouldn't have released otherwise. So if you really want to see some content that didn't necessarily go well, but might be entertaining, we'll probably put some stuff there. That way, stuff that's not consumable for the masses is maybe the best way to put that. But I think that's about it. So I think next week, like I said, hopefully we can get back to a little bit of 30K, and then we're absolutely going to be starting on 40K. I'm also going to be putting out the next part of my Conquest series. I just got the late on it this week, but I'm going to try to put out 2 next week. I'm doing Nords, and then I don't know which one I'm going to do next. I haven't decided. but those, and then kind of continuing that series and expanding out from there. But you should see quite a bit of stuff next week, because my week's a lot better next week. This week, things got away from me, and I don't know why. But, all right, well, on behalf of all of us here at the show, then, have some good hobbying and some great gaming. And I will turn off the stream here. There we go.